Hello.
How are you?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
We are, amazingly, we are it's been one day after we did the first podcast of last year.
Yeah, that is weird, isn't it?
Now, we're here. I don't think our voices have changed a lot.
No.
And I don't think we've changed a lot either, but...
I feel like we've changed a lot since Series 1, maybe.
Yeah. But welcome to Fortnight Film. I would say this is the end of the beginning, possibly, for us, actually, because this is the year where we all go off to uni, and this will be kind of our last kind of home run, let's say. So we'll be doing...
Yeah, we probably won't be doing New Year next year.
Next year, anyway, but...
Yeah. So this is the last hurrah, almost.
Almost.
I don't know how many episodes we have left, but...
Possibly two after this.
We'll try and cover Oscars and then whatever else, but more on that later. So in this show, we're just doing a sort of roundup of the year, talking about recent films as well.
A very good year. Yeah. Because we actually have a top. Last year we had a top 5. We have a top 11 this year for me.
Yeah, pretty big. Yes. So, what are we going to be talking about today?
We are talking about. Well, of course. There's a film that came out called Star Wars: The Last Jedi, which came out.
Don't know if you've heard of it.
I don't know if you've heard of it. I mean, it's got a lot of praise. I mean, it's been a bit divisive.
Yeah,
around.
I'd say it's been divisive. The split between critics and fans is quite
very
interesting. Yeah.
So we're going to find out our opinion on that. We're talking Stranger Things 2, very late review of Stranger Things 2.
I only finished it today.
You only finished today, but that's a good thing because you extended it. So we're talking about Stranger Things 2, finally, but we'll go into a lot of spoilers, so we won't do some sort of like, we'll be reviewing and do spoilers, we'll go straight into that. We're talking the new season of Black Mirror, which just came out.
Off the presses.
Just off the presses, but we'll talk more in depth about the first episode, and I will talk a bit about some of the other ones, because Caleb hasn't seen the rest of it. Yeah. And then we're going to talk about the film that... I would say it's the Christmas film of the year. The film that came out at Christmas, and it was the only kind of the big one. The Greatest Showman. You put Jumanji in there, but I've already seen that. We'll talk later, and then we're talking about, and then we'll have a roundup of the year. So we'll talk about the underrated movies of the year. We'll talk about a very overrated film that came out in November, and we both seen it, and we
still
both
fresh in our minds.
Still fresh in our minds, but we both thought it was not as good as we say is overrated. And then we'll finish off with roundup, and then the top films of the year, top TV shows, possibly a rotten list, but we'll see how time goes. But let's
begin.
Starting
with The Last Jedi.
So, 2 years ago, Force Awakens came out, and we reviewed it on Fortnight Film. So this is kind of
very first
very momentous bonuses, because we've now finally come full circle, and we're now in the second film of this instalment, Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Last year we had Rogue One. This year it's the latest one, and to kind of, let's put a bit of context in here. Force Awakens came out, and when we reviewed it, let's say that my film criticism was not the best in the world then, as I kind of was like only tiptoeing my way into this new realm of film.
We were babes in the woods.
As they say. And pretty much, interesting analogy, and pretty much, I loved the film, but and I remember like when we talked, I loved it. It's the best thing ever. It's amazing. Rodasia is brilliant. Everything. And then afterwards, I've seen it a couple of times again now, and I still love it. I still think it's a really great film, a fantastically enjoyable film from beginning to end. Still a really nice story, great introduction to a new generation of the universe. But I still think there are issues now. Like, for example, I think some of the acting's a bit wooden. There's a bit of George Lucas kind of writing that kind of gets into it. And there's also, as well, some issues with some plot. There's kind of some plot holes as well. But we now have Star Wars: Last Jedi. So 2 years later, we come back, and I think to kind of get a bit of a point, we'll go into spoilers here, because I think at this point everyone's kind of seen it. But if you kind of think about it from the film, people saying this picks up straight off from the first film, but I say it doesn't. Now, you missed the opening of this film, you did.
I did. Well, only a small amount, but I think it was enough to miss a nice opening shot. But
kind of to start off, to kind of begin, we still got the characters, some of the Resistance are still in that base. We still have Rey on the island, and we have Finn, which is still hibernating or something. So kind of those characters left off.
Yeah, I rewatched Force Awakens recently. I think he just gets hurt at the end, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he's just recovering. He's just
recovering from it, and so that's where we begin with Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Now, I've now seen this film twice, and the first time I saw it on the opening. I saw it on the second day it came, so the Friday. I went on a film trip up to the BFI to do some research, and then in the afternoon we went to see Star Wars: The Last Jedi at Tottenham Court Road. Pretty packed, and it was kind of, there's a lot of hardcore Star Wars fans in, like, including me. I sat next, my teacher who sat next to me, he is a real massive Star Wars fan, and also a guy on my left was a real Star Wars fan as well. And I saw this for the first time, and first time I loved it. I thought it's just a great film. I really enjoyed it. Fantastic sequel. The second time I saw it, though, I really felt so conflicted afterwards, because all the flaws that came out afterwards just suddenly appeared, and I felt very much, and it derailed my enjoyment of the film, and I really don't know how to do it. So basically, and then about almost 2 weeks, it's taken me so long to kind of...
I think it's a film that's really got to settle. It's not like Force Awakens where you kind of know where you stand straight away.
So you come out, and you
The
really
Last Jedi is more like you come out and you're like, that was interesting.
You go, well,
I enjoyed it. That was interesting.
Yeah, you enjoyed it.
And then you go, and then you start talking to people, and they start questioning bits that you didn't question, or you start questioning bits that they didn't question, and then suddenly your opinion of the film begins to transform,
and then slowly it goes to a mass descent. But let's talk about some of the first time. Like, first thing first, on a visual scale, it's stunning. I mean, it's directed by Rian Johnson, and Rian Johnson, we know, you reviewed Brick actually in the first one.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
Brick is fantastic. I haven't seen Brick, but I know you think it's fantastic.
Yeah,
He's made Looper, which I've seen, and that's a really great B-movie sci-fi film. The film before was, he's done Breaking Bad episodes, so he knows, like, kind of character drama as well.
Oh, he's a brilliant director.
He's a brilliant director.
As far as things go.
And in terms of visuals, he has brought something new. I mean, the opening shot of this, after we have, the classic, the score, the film, you get the camera, the classic pan down. Suddenly you get kind of, you hear the flute actually from episode 4, so straight away, bit of a homage there. But then suddenly the camera does this for the first time actually in an opening shot. The camera does a push in, zoom in, and suddenly we see all these.
I think I missed this.
Yes, you missed it, because we see all these ships kind of escaping, and immediately we're straight in, and the Resistance are basically chasing away from a space. And opening sequence,
I think it is an incredible opening. I think that was very exciting.
The opening's stunning, and it's spectacular, and it's really exciting, and you can feel kind of like it felt Rogue One again. All those stuff in the first Rogue One film, where the space battles at the end, where it was just kind of. It was like I said in the original about a year ago, it expanded on the original enough to make kind of like a big kind of sci-fi film. And it did this again, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's exciting, it's tense, it's thrilling. You feel as Poe Dameron flies with the ship, you kind of feel your geekiness homage kind of go into overdrive. It's, oh my god, it's a T-X-Fighter, it's a T-Fighter, and they're all fighting against each other. And it's really exciting. That's really good fun. And then also in addition as well, you have kind of the lightsaber fights. Well, I thought were really good in like the lightsaber fights.
Oh yeah.
I mean, but the one thing main people kind of refer to, it's very Japanese cinema inspired. Like, for example, the fight between Rey and Luke. Like, and you can feel it in the rain.
Yeah.
The thunder's lighting off. You can immediately go Grandmaster. You'll think you're Seven Samurai. You'll think of all of these samurai movies, and also that massive 28. That was it. Two that Ren and Rey fight. There's 2 people, and you see it's 6 guys, it's 2 people. And when that moment happened,
I love that scene.
That moment for me, literally the moment, like you can feel like my mouth was just like, oh my god. I mean, I was like, ah! It was like, it's 6 guys, it's 2 people, and it's just brilliant as a Star Wars fan. It's like 6 people.
I think all of the fight scenes, however sparse or close together they are, they're always feel very well executed in the film. I think. Yeah. I always enjoyed how they were set up.
I really like this stuff. Yeah. I mean, in addition, second as well, and then so you got fantastic visual effects. Second thing as well, Mark Hamill. What the wait was worth it for him after 2 years. Luke, he has said openly he didn't like the character arc, but for me personally, I really like the way they took the character.
I think I've got a lot of respect for Mark Hamill in that because he said he didn't like the character role, but he didn't make a big fuss about it. He went to Rian Johnson and he said, I don't like what you're doing with my charecter, but I'm going to do my job. And he does it so well.
I mean, it's emotional. It's a very emotional role, and he brings something I don't think we haven't seen in Luke before, and he brings something that's kind of. It's the facial expressions, his look. He's kind of like, you see he's a worn man. He's got the weight of the shoulders, the weight of the galaxy possibly, and it's the way how they develop that character, which makes it so compelling with Luke, and how you see kind of the revelations that appear are very exciting, and interesting because it expands that character enough, and it's just and also the way how actually I got very emotional with Luke actually. Yeah. Like when Leia and Luke meet for the first time, I thought that was incredibly emotional. I mean, I cried there because like it's two people who you won't see in the first one because Leia, sadly, Carrie Fisher now passed away. But when that happens, it just feels like two people coming together after almost 30 years. Yes, I'm not over 30, but as a Star Wars fan, you can feel kind of the weight of that moment there, and it's done so well.
With Luke, what I really liked, because I was in a conversation with a couple of friends, and we were saying that we actually also really like the character direction with Luke, because in the originals he's a really good character and you root for him, but he isn't that interesting compared to what character they portray in The Last Jedi, I think.
Yeah.
I think he's much more... I don't know, I like the kind of conflict that comes through and the character drama. Yeah,
he's developed.
It's a much more developed film character-wise than most Star Wars films, which I like.
But you can see Evan Starr, because he did do Breaking Bad. You can feel kind of the writing from the Breaking Bad, from the way he directed. The Ozymandias is a particular example of that, when Walter White says, we are like I thought we were family, we are family. It's that way as well.
I mean, Looper's interesting as well, because Looper's a very emotional sci-fi film for a sci-fi film. Like, a lot of it is spent waiting and a lot of talking rather than action, which is interesting.
And I really like Mark Hamill. I think it's one of his best films age, and also the way how the film ends. I know there's that really kind of cheesy twist there, but when you see Luke and he's on and you hear the French horn suddenly appear with the Luke motif, and you see him looking out in the distance. Yeah. That is just such a perfect moment, the way they round off Luke's character. It's like, because I know I think it possibly may feel a bit rushed there, but actually both times I still found that moment completely rewarding.
I think that was really powerful. It didn't take me out of it at all.
It's very rewarding as a character. In addition as well, other points, Carrie Fisher as well was great. Carrie Fisher,
I think she had a really powerful performance throughout, and I'm glad they did keep her in for the duration of the film. Yeah, exactly.
They would have gone let's kill him off halfway through, but actually didn't. And it's that charisma and humour. The first time when you hear it, it's that croaky voice, that kind of they go, we're gonna stop this, we're gonna escape, and it's the way how he says it in the really comes with the croaky old man, old manner. It's just wonderful, and it's really kind of you can feel the charisma there in Carrie Fisher and Leia, and it's just a wonderful way for them to round the character. Yes, she's not going to be in the next one, and I did like that the way they ended. It's like we didn't kill him off, we didn't kill her off. We kept her, and that's the way how our arc ended. And yes, J.J. Abrams got a lot to think about how to do some sort of.
He's got a big job on his hands.
Yes, maybe the film will start off with a funeral. I don't know, but we have that there, and then you have Domhnall Gleeson as well, who I think is just so funny in this film. I think what I loved about the opening of this film, actually, and especially Domhnall Gleeson, it brings back the soapiness of Star Wars that it used to be. But after Rogue One, which was quite serious, quite melted down. Well, back in the day, it literally was, defeat those rebels, stop the Star Destroyer, you want to take out those puny ships. It's the campness and the soapiness.
I know I'm jumping ahead a bit here, but I feel like with a lot of the criticism for the film, some of it is about why is it so silly? Or why are there so many silly moments?
I do have an issue.
But I don't know. I've always felt like Star Wars has never actually been that serious. If you think about it, it's never taken itself that seriously. Yeah. But more on that in a bit.
Yeah. So John Williams is very funny. He has some of the best lines in it as well, and the other stuff. However, as much as I say, I know those are three kind of big things. But there's other things I really like. I love certain character moments. I love the way the arcs continue through. I like the development, and I like the way it ended as well.
Yeah. I think before we go on to the
flaws, which I will.
I think the thing I loved about this film more than any other Star Wars film was the kind of emotional plot itself. Yeah. So whatever gripe I have with narrative or pacing or anything, I find that the way the characters were developed was so much more interesting than it's been done before, which was really strong in the film. Yeah,
and it's a fantastically enjoyable film. No matter what you think, it's still a very enjoyable film from beginning to end both times. But there are problems with this film, and I have problems with this film. There are some fanboy problems as well, but there's some film criticism ones. Now, the first thing I'm going to say, and every time I say this criticism, I've had a massive shutdown from this, but I'm going to try and say this. Rey and Kylo Ren, I think they are very well-written characters. They are complex, and they're like everything we've seen in Star Wars canon. They are beautifully well-written. However, they are not that well performed. And I know people are going to absolutely throw their hands in the air, going, they're brilliantly performed. But, and I have to say, Daisy Ridley, yes, she helped with CGI work, and it's a physical performance overall. But every time she speaks, and I felt like this in the first one as well, it's the just out of acting school performance. It's that over the top kind of, how did you defeat Kylo Ren? And like, it's that kind of over the top like writing, and it really cringed about like that line there. Did you defeat Kylo Ren? The way she speaks it, it's like, you know, someone going, you naughty boy, how dare you do that? It's like something out of some sort of Victorian drama in a way.
Yeah.
Yes, I know she was in Murder of the Orient Express, not a great film, but. And she was actually one of the good things actually about Murder on the Orient Express. But in this, it's like, yeah, I know you're a British actress, and I know physically you're doing very well, but please, can we have some decent speaking here? Because it just feels like some sort of eat-on person just walks out on stage and goes, and she goes, how dare you do that, you naughty boy? It's like there's a lot, and also
you treacherous snake.
Yes, that line really cringed me. You murderous snake. It's like, it's so random, but it's like, it's the slang there. It's like snake. It's like, no.
Yeah.
No.
What about Kylo Ren?
Alan Driver. I don't care what I say. She's a complex character. Alan Driver. I said this at the beginning of the film. He begins the film as a mopey teenager. At the end of the film, he's a mopey teenager. He uses one facial expression. Did you think he just uses that straight face kind of, yeah, I'm Kylo Ren. And what he does very well, he tries to see how many emotions he can convey in this one face expression. So he may go, ooh, ooh.
It's just blue still.
And people calling this like, you know, people calling this, it's like, the thing is that if we're now calling this a complex performance, this is a complex performance, and Hayden Christensen should have won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor with his roles in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, because that was the same performance, that was done terribly, and it's the same thing here. It's one facial expression. I'm sorry, it's a complex character, but there are some moments in it where it's like, it was like the most, for me, the most the most off-humour moment in the entire film is the moment when Ray look at each other and he turns around and he's half naked. What is that all about? He just turns around and he just looks like this slunky hunchback of Notre Dame. It's like, hello there.
So, I kind of want to respond to the characters because I don't want to shut you down immediately.
Yeah, you are going to get,
but I do agree with you and disagree with you.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what I think.
Yeah.
I thoroughly agree with you on Daisy Ridley because I think the thing I noticed the most was going back and watching. I didn't watch Force Awakens in full, but going back and watching bits of it recently, I think Daisy Ridley's comedy acting is actually very strong, and it's in the moments of action that it's really good. But when the film slows down and she has to confront, you know, like an emotional scene, it's just so stunted and it doesn't really work. It's very wooden in Force Awakens. So then to put her into a film where it is all emotional talking, intense. Basically.
It's like Stephen Moffat.
Yeah, and so like there's one scene where she has like a bit of fire or a bit of like energy, and that bit I laughed at because I found it quite funny.
What line was that?
I don't know. It was early on in the film when she's annoyed, when she's following around Luke and she's annoyed at him. I found that bit quite good. But then when it, as the film kind of settles down,
to show my place. That scene where I need someone to show my, in the line says, I need someone to show my place noise. I thought that's a very well acted moment because that is not over the top. But it's just murderous snake, you evil person. Did you defeat Kylo Ren? It's the over the top stuff there where I kind of go, okay, that is a bit too. Yeah. It just didn't feel right. It didn't feel natural to the character, and I do think that. Yeah, right. And you're going to agree with that.
But with Kylo Ren, I do disagree.
Yeah, I know that's me being very blunted about it, but yeah, I just have a problem with that.
I understand why. Because the thing is so here's a little anecdote. I was getting my hair cut the other day, and my hairdresser was sort of, or my barber or whatever, was we were talking about Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and he was just like, I'm just not convinced by Kylo Ren. Said I just don't see him as this big bad guy.
Yeah,
and I totally understand the criticism.
He's a boy and girl.
Yeah, but also for this film especially, I don't think Kylo Ren had to be the bad guy. Like, it didn't necessarily, like, he wasn't really the threat of the film.
Yeah,
and a lot of what this film did was actually humanize Kylo Ren. and show you how conflicted he was. And the film was very straightforward about showing you the conflict between, you know, sort of good and evil in quotation marks with Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
So what I think is that the whole whiny teenager aspect is actually quite interesting way of looking at it, because it takes kind of the conflict that we found in the prequels as well. But it does it in a much more sort of streamlined and interesting way. And it, like, I don't know, I find the focus on kind of loss and like the loss of his parent, and like the struggle to, like, you know, to like clearly he's got some issues with his family and stuff like that, and that's like a really interesting aspect. And so, and the film made sure that he wasn't the bad guy throughout this. He was a guy who was just like him and Rey were communicating and kind of working out their place within all of this. As Rey says, the real bad guy of this, the thing is, there wasn't some big threat. It was more like the threat of the First Order. That's it. You know, I always forget their names. It's slightly generic. The threat was really just the First Order as a face, and there were kind of different enemies throughout. Like they also explored kind of bureaucracy and all of that with the rebel ship, and like how that played out as well.
Okay, we do talk about that a bit, but
we will. I think, but for Kylo Ren, I think it is interesting, but the thing I do worry about is now Kylo Ren is painted as the threat. What are they going to do in the third film?
That's my problem with the first film, so that leaves room for those who share. In addition to this, and I didn't feel this, the narrative is a very real issue. Yes, it's an 8 film. So we're gonna have. It's not going to be a fastly more well-paced film. Force Awakens was an opening film, and that was it. It was one adventure straight on. Now you've got an 8th film here, so you've got kind of different things juggling together. It was a bit like Game of Thrones season 7, where they've got all these kind of things juggling together.
It's very in between film, but I don't think that's necessarily.
But they always that wasn't necessarily a bad thing as well. But I think narratively, what I did find very problematic was the second time round, because in the final third there was so many twists and turns. It made, for me, a real slog of a movie. It just felt like, yes, you've got that fantastic crate scene, that fantastic crate battle, which I don't care. The Millennium Falcon flying through the air, it's brilliant. It's wonderful, and I really love that. But it's the stuff there where, for example, with the Snoke conversation, because you see it the second time, you know where the Snoke thing will go, because you know where the Luke and Ren thing happened. It feels like a real slog, and because it's like they just stack and stack. Like towards like you're going left, right, left, right, left, right. As a first time view, you think, wow, this is great, it's unpredictable, it's awesome. Yeah. But the second time, you suddenly kind of go, okay, now there's so many twists, you just lose interest. Yeah. And I felt like that as a person, I kind of lost interest. The thing with Force Awakens though was that I did interest in the second time because there were only 2 really big twists. You had Solo's death, and also, the other side of Ben Solo and everything. You had one really massive twist, but you still found, as a narrative, really enjoyable. The problem is, because there were so many twists, it just felt it just dragged for me. And I feel like that's a real issue as a movie. For example, Snoke's death. I'm not happy with Snoke's death here. Yes, we are spoiling the film here, but to be honest, everyone must have seen it by now, by the time it comes out. Yeah. Snoke's death for me was... I know people go, oh, you can adapt into the comics, you can put it into the comics, you can put it into the lore. But for Star Wars movie...
So this is a fanboy problem.
This is a fanboy... This is a real... This is a fanboy problem. It's not a critic, but a fanboy problem. The thing is, as a Star Wars thing, because every single Star Wars... The thing that makes Star Wars work as a franchise and as a series and makes it so loved and memorable is that every character has a backstory, everything has a lore, everything has a mythology. Because we don't know about Snoke's mythology, he makes it a very interesting character. They may adapt it into a novel or a comic book line, but not... Because who's really going to read that? About hardcore people go and read that, to be honest. But the thing is, because what happens, they go, Snoke's an interesting character, he's a very interesting character, and in the first film, they were really building him up as this big kind of entity, this evil thing. The second film, they just go, no, he's not, dead. And it's kind of like, that's it. And you don't know where it goes. And for me, afterwards, yes, in that moment, it's kind of a big jaw-dropping, you go, wow, what a real major twist. But then afterwards, as you start to kind of think about that twist, you go, what was the point of it? Are you trying to? Was that just shocking value? What's that got to do with episode 9? Because now we don't really have a big threat anymore. We just got Ren. It was very troubling as a twist.
I feel like I think it was. It wasn't necessarily. It did serve a purpose for the film, but I think it served a purpose for the series in that it was sort of saying. I think it was very much. A lot of this film feels like Rian Johnson saying,
"Screw."
Yeah, screw you. Like it, but that's not necessarily a bad.
That's not a bad thing at all. That's not a bad thing.
But I think I like the Snoke scene, and I haven't seen it a second time, so I might come back to it.
I did like at the same time, but before that moment with that Soccer, I still like that. Yes, there is that moment which clearly is Return of the Jedi. Like, you know, it's like straight out of Return of the Jedi where he goes, "Look at the fleet, it's destroyed," and you go, "Yeah." Last Jedi, Return of the Jedi. Wow, so we messed that up there. And then as well, like kind of the way Andy Serkis as a character, it felt like a real kind of rehash of the Emperor scene. But I didn't mind that because Andy Serkis is absolutely brilliant, and the fake motion capture was very well done. You actually feel like it was a motion capture. I thought, is this really motion capture? Is he actually in that costume?
Yeah,
I think it was motion capture, but.
Oh no, it must be Andy
but it's
Serkis.
Beautiful. But Andy Serkis is a brilliant. He's a brilliant actor.
Yeah,
he really shows a lot of sympathy. But I want more of him, and I don't know why they killed him off because he's such a fan.
Yeah, I think that is the main problem for me. I actually like the plot point of killing Snoke. I find that it serves a purpose of kind of like letting Ren become the enemy, because he hasn't really been the enemy in these first two films, but he needs to be the threat in the third one. Or someone else.
Yeah.
But like obviously that's a problem for another time. But I think they needed to get rid of Snoke to kind of
show that,
make Kylo Ren a bigger character, and also to kind of get rid of that mythology in Star Wars of this good and evil, and blurring the lines a bit and making it a bit more interesting. And also I think with killing Snoke, I think it sort of legitimizes Kylo Ren as a threat, at least as a Force user, because you see how strong he must be. But
you do lose that character. I did find that a bit of an issue.
But I don't like that we're not going to get any more Andy Serkis.
Yeah, because he's a brilliant performance from him, and he does kind of steal the. It gets to a point where kind of he's on the verge of stealing the show, and then he dies, and then it's like. Okay.
Well, I'm glad he got more focus.
He got more focus
at least.
Not enough focus because we didn't really have. It didn't really expand on Snoke. He's just there to explode out the plot, but that's fine at all. I don't mind that. The thing though, there's another thing, and before we get into kind of like the big issue overall about the film, the one thing we do have to talk about that bureaucracy stuff here. Laura Dern. It's a big for me because Laura Dern as an actress, she's played very kind of as an actress. I think I had a problem with Laura Dern's character, and I'll tell you why. As an actress, she has played in roles that are kind of menacing and they're quite traitorous.
Right.
You take Mulholland Drive. You take like Lynch to Mulholland Drive example. You take the recent film Big Little Lies. She plays Renata, who's kind of like this really evil mum that you just don't like. She plays very dislikable characters. So when you see her turn up there, the minute you go traitor. Me too.
You
go traitor. Like she straight away looks like some sort of baddie from the opening. However, because the way Lord acts it, it makes her like she's a traitor. And then we realise she's not a traitor. It kind of, for me, really kind of makes me go, wait, what? Because I thought, that moment where he goes, when both Luke and Leia and Finn goes, "May the Force be with you," and it's like a lovely moment. I thought she would turn around to the camera and me after and go, that's the thing, you kind of feel like she goes, "I've sorted out Leia, I'm now going to the store." There was that kind of mystery to her, and then she really wasn't. There's a real issue with that story.
I think it is odd. I would agree. I don't know how I feel about it.
We could talk about this film for ages because there's so much to talk.
But with General Holder, I don't know how I feel about it, because you kind of get, on one hand, you're like, well, if she'd have told Poe like what their plan was, then like they wouldn't have gone off to the casino planet. Like it wouldn't have cost loads of lives.
We haven't talked about Poe Dameron.
The thing is that also I think it was kind of. First of all, I think that the reason for that was they hadn't had their fully formed plan yet when Poe was like inquiring.
But
the other thing is, I think that was meant to be a comment on how, like, you know, the rebels aren't the heroes. Like, they aren't these big heroes that you kind of paint them to be. They are just, you know, another cog in this battle. And I think a lot of the overarching theme of the film is that, you know, people are chaotic and they're not good or evil, and even if you know, like, they had a lot of stuff about the arms trade, which was, I thought was an interesting way.
It was not George Lucas dialogue, which for once it wasn't. Thank the Lord.
But and I thought it was really interesting having that plot point in there as well, because it was kind of like, it was kind of paralleling the real world and saying that you can't just back one side and then, you know, hope to, like, you know, these are the good guys, these are the bad guys. There's no narrative as simple as that.
I think it was important.
So to bring that into space warfare is quite interesting.
I think the thing is, what we're trying to talk about here, like, because the thing is, the flaws that many people have been talking about are, you know, the Canterbite flaw, which is the that thing with the casino stuff, which I didn't mind. I don't want to
I liked it.
I didn't mind it. I thought actually, there's actually quite a fun action sequence. It's actually alright.
It's interesting. It's fun. Benicio del Toro is a great character.
He's a great character.
I hope he comes back. Somehow.
I think he's a bit too underwritten to be a character, but he's there, and he's actually quite an enjoyable face, because I like Benicio del Toro. Like in Sicario, he's a fantastic villain in that. Like, anti-villain, we don't know. He's an anti-hero in that. But he's a really good actor, and I really like that about it. And I didn't mind the Canterbite scene. And also the other one that goes, you know, it's all about the human stuff. However, for me, the main issue with The Last Jedi, and I say this kind of, we are possibly talking about it, so yes, it's an episode 8, and it's always been an episode 8 and stuff. I felt by the end of it, it didn't feel like an episode 8, because all the questions in the first film were very kind of fully answered. And there weren't many questions to take away from this for me to digest and go, what that could be, like, make a fan film. I know this sounds like a film, but is it a fanboy issue? I think it's also a film critic issue, because to make an episode 9, we need to know where's story's going, where's the final battle. It doesn't feel like it's going to be a final battle. It feels kind of like we've had the final battle, and now where's it going? It feels like the end of an era, which it shouldn't be. It should be a middle film. We should be leading.
Well,
and
I think
take Empire Strikes Back. I said take Empire Strikes Back. In Empire Strikes Back, Han Solo's captured. How Luke is reacting to the reveal that Vader's his father. We don't know all about that. We have the issue with what on earth is and race Leia, and how's that going to change that? We have those two things. We have plot lines that are completely finished. At the end of this, all the main characters are together. The only question is, where does the Resistance go? But to be honest, we'll get that in the next one. So that's not a real question to ponder. But and that's the issue, that all the characters, they all come together at the end, and everyone kind of lives happy ever after. Yes, I know there is people question, you know, it's in the middle of the film because no one really, you know, fought at the end and all the fight stuff. But at the end of it, I really don't know how they're going to make an episode 9. I feel like, is there a story left to tell?
I'd say, and I don't want to go into, like, speculation territory, but I'd say that I think the plot that will probably come forward is, first of all, the rebels have, like, are very low on numbers at this point. They're pretty much alone in the, like, they, you know, the distress call at the end. They didn't get any answers apart from Luke, who's now gone. And obviously now we have the plot point of, like, Leia's not going to be in the next film,
and we have Ren as well. So
I think the question is how are the rebels going to get out of this one? Because at the moment they are a tiny crew.
But how are we going to?
And also, I mean, Rey and Finn and Kylo Ren as well still have a long way to go in developing.
But that's the thing, and should we have an episode 10 to finish off? I think a 9 is not enough. I think we need to possibly have a 10 to finish off the saga. I feel like we've almost reached half an hour here, so I think we should possibly start wrapping this up a bit. But I think what that does, though, it does make me feel like, how are we going to have a story to that? How change it? Because it feels like a clean slate. And I didn't find it in Empire Strikes Back. I found in Empire Strikes Back that there was enough in there for me to go, okay, like, if you were back in 1980, like I wasn't, but because I can easily watch the film now when I was younger. But with that, there was enough for you to go, okay, 2-3 year wait, I can still ponder, like, where's Han Solo, what's he doing, how are they going to get him out? There's enough there. In this, it's kind of like, where it feels like a clean slate, and it doesn't feel like it feels like there's no other questions asked.
Yeah.
But I think overall say, despite all those issues, it is still a very enjoyable film. I know that's taken almost about half an hour to say. Despite all this, it's been a very enjoyable film. But I think I do have those issues there, and I feel those issues need to be brought up because I feel this film is being praised so highly, and I think there's been a lot of problems with like the backlash of this film. But there have also been some issues with I felt that not many people have turned. I have my own issues about this film that I don't think many people turn because you've got the same issues that have been pieced again and again and again. But I have my own issues, and I think as well like it's not like Force Awakens. It's a very different film.
Yeah.
But there are the issues I have with Star Wars, and those pretty much that half an hour conversation I had in this is pretty much like what I've been trying to battle with for the last 2 weeks or after seeing this movie twice. I feel
like everyone I see on the bus is probably just thinking about Star Wars. They're like, what do I think?
And I do say now from the beginning, I do have seen that officially. It's not in the top 10 of the top 11 films of the year. It's nowhere near even in there. But as a movie, I still thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm still excited for episode 9. I still want to see how the story's going to end. But I want to know how they're going to. And I'm wondering, will we get an episode 10 possibly? It's possibly tied a bit more.
Part 1, Part 2 style.
Yeah, because I still feel like it is still stuff that feels a bit underwritten stuff. I feel we need a bit more stuff. But overall, I will give it 4 out of 5. And I know there's a lot of issues there, but I'll give it 4 out of 5 because I still think it's a very enjoyable film. But despite all of it, it's still an enjoyable film.
Yeah.
And that's enough for it to be 4 stars. Like, if I can still sit for it again, I was happy to sit for it again, I was still happy to enjoy it. Yeah, that's enough to be 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
So,
in conclusion for me, I think probably the main problem for the film is the pacing and the structure. It's basically, this is to borrow a
quote.
Yeah, a quote from another reviewer, Jenny Nicholson, on YouTube. So I don't want to take credit, but it is basically 2 films kind of stuck together. Like we've got the Rebels and the Finn and Rose plot, and then also the Kylo Ren, Rey and Luke plot.
The Force plot.
And so it's kind of stuck together, and it is quite weird, but it more than makes up for it in kind of the emotional plot line for me is very strong for all of the characters.
It's still an emotionally enjoyable
and very well and mostly well acted, I think. And it kind of cements Kylo Ren as one of my favourite characters within Star Wars, interestingly. A lot of people disagree with me on that.
I know. Straight away I'm looking like, are you sure? Are you really, really sure?
But I definitely agree with you. I'd say 4 out of 5.
It's
a strong film. I think it's really strong. I don't know. I'm not going to rate. I'm going to kind of rate this within a bubble because I don't want to rate the other Star Wars films. Because I don't want to rank.
Yeah, that's the thing. I can't really rank the Star Wars films because I still haven't seen the other ones. So it's okay. Now we can see how we think about it. But it's an interesting film. It's an interesting way of took it, and it's good enough. We've had a devised Star Wars film. It's not the film everyone thought it was going to be, and that's a good thing. That's also a bad thing.
I mean, I'm just glad it's caused more discussion than the Force Awakens.
So overall, that was your half an hour long.
That was your Star Wars fix
review of the year. But we'll now talk about some stuff. So if you're not a Star Wars fan, you can finally turn back on and go, we're now going to talk about some different stuff.
Now we finished with a film, and we're going to move on to some TV. Yeah. So
after that very long review,
after that
Star Warsy
in-depth review, we're going to move on to Stranger Things 2. We are a bit late, I only finished it today, so someone might be in the same boat as me.
Yeah.
So we're just going to talk briefly
about
Stranger Things.
I think to talk about Stranger Things, we'll go straight into spoilers, but I think kind of give a bit of context again. I think the first season we both really loved, we both really enjoyed, and we had issues. For example, for me, I had my main issue I had with it was that it was a bit too. Some of the dialogue was very clunky.
No, I'd agree.
And some of the characters are a bit better. With this though, and also I think it was a style film. I feel it was too. It didn't have its own personal style. I thought it was just referencing stuff a bit too much. However, with season 2 now, I think now because I think there was such kind of an originality. I put that in quotation marks. Originality because I thought there was kind of wasn't. You lose that surprise of season 2. So you kind of know what you're going to get this time round. But like you said, you said, if it ain't broke, why won't you fix it? And they don't, because after the quite strange opening thing, which brings us, 11s. There's maybe another 11 in the world, which was quite intriguing enough, but not enough for me to go, that's the best thing. You then get that opening when Dustin appears. And Dustin goes, I need to get a nickel, I need to get a nickel, and you see all the characters kind of running around to try and find money, and you hear the kids' theme comes in, and immediately I kind of went, okay, I'm going to sit back, I'm going to enjoy this, because that was kind of the sigh of relief, and I kind of thought, okay, they haven't messed about, this is going to be a very good first season, and I have to admit, I really enjoyed season 2. I thought that it's given an overall opinion before we get into depth. I thought it was a very enjoyable overall first season. There are issues with it again, like I said. I think this one's a bit better than season 1, just a bit better. Because I think there were more character moments that we'll talk about. There were more other things, but there were issues with the show. And the thing is, you were on the same boat because this was one of your favourite TV shows now. But.
Yeah, Stranger Things is probably as a whole is probably one of my favourite TV shows. I really enjoyed the first season. The second season for me, I thought they improved on a lot of stuff, but then also didn't quite hit me in the same way. But I'll talk more about that in a bit. But I have kind of like two main points.
What's your 2 main points first, Noel?
So the first one we kind of went over.
If they ain't broke, why don't you fix it?
Yeah, if they ain't broke, don't fix it. So they don't really deviate a lot from the first one. It like ups the threat in some ways, develops the characters, but essentially we get a very similar plot.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just, I mean, it's good. It shows that they've got a strong formula and it works. But
possibly you may need to change the third time around.
Yeah, exactly.
And they've got
the detractor for me, I think, was there wasn't the hype and excitement of being introduced into the world of Hawkins like there was the first time round. For me, I found that the sense of mystery in the first season... Yeah, the sense of mystery in the first season is constantly building. Each episode is better than the last. This one, immediately, and this may have been just because I watched the trailer, but this one, immediately, I knew every beat of the plot. Like,
from the beginning to end. I kind of felt the same way to you about that, but I think you kind of know the journey you kind of know where the end game is, because they said this is like a sequel, and it is like a movie sequel, which I loved about it. It's like a movie sequel. There's a beginning and there's a proper end. There's no sort of crappy cliffhanger like some like Mindhunter, but I don't say the show's crap. I mean, like, there's not sort of stupid cliffhanger like Game of Thrones, where it's like the wall's gone down the end of season 7. And it cuts to black and
they've
credits.
They've always been... The good thing about Stranger Things is it is just like an 8-hour film. Like
it's 9 hours now.
Yeah, it's nice to have kind of a sense of like...
Closure.
Closure, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for.
It's a sense of closure. I think, let's talk the first things love about. I think the companies love that again. You can see the budget has increased massively. I think the first thing I knew, it wasn't the visual effects, it was actually the lighting. I saw was very different. Like, example, the way how it was kind of more sunny, it was kind of more like dusk and sunset. You feel straight away, yes, this is very much more budget. You can see the visual effects, they've upped the visual effects again. And you can see Netflix, they're throwing effects.
I mean, the first one was a sleeper hit.
Yeah,
like,
but the thing
it just happened. Like, it just happened to get so popular.
But now it's such a big behemoth that you can feel kind of Netflix they wanted to throw everything out. And I think the Duff Brothers, they held back a lot. So I think if Netflix had more control on this might have fallen apart season 2 with that. Yeah. And you can feel like they really steered a very tight ship throughout the season on the way through. The things I liked about it, I think overall, in terms of character arcs, the kids, regarding 11, we'll talk about 11 later, but we'll talk the main group I liked. I loved the banter. I think the scene, the other scene I really liked, I love the Ghostbusters banter in that episode too. Where they go, you're Wu, I'm Winston, and you can feel the chemistry there, and you feel kind of, yes, you feel you're throwing back.
I think in general, everyone's sort of grown as an actor, especially the children.
It's a lot more funny this year. Like, I love the scene where you see the man actually go, right, let's engage, and you feel the music, and she shuts the door, music, it's like shuts the door, bang, it's like, oh. And you can feel like the angsty teen stuff. Feel like there's a hint of puberty, which we are going to get. They have said in season 3, puberty and
I mean, they've got to confront the fact that
there's nice hints of that.
Growing up.
There's nice hints of that in this season, and I love the stuff Dustin. I really liked. I like that Will. I like that season. It was Will's story in a way. It's a lot more about Will kind of at the beginning. It's kind of like Will adjusting, or like for a whole year, pretty much kind of overcoming this fear of the upside down, and kind of you feel the aftermath. You feel like this was completely life changing. Like, you know, he always has flashbacks, have overbacks, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then we get that kind of very strange episode 3, where it's like, you know, it's just like, you know, you tell him to go away, and then in the end he doesn't go away. Instead, he gets smoke sucked in, and he becomes a spy. But I like the fact that it's Will's story this season, and it centres on Will.
I think it really. Who is the actor for Will, actually?
Noah Schnapp.
Noah Schnapp.
Absolutely brilliant. Great child acting again.
Yeah, ridiculously good. Like, it's crazy because we hardly see him in the first series, and a lot of your care for Will, you kind of have to rely on the other actors.
On Joyce, but
for this one, they like Noah Schnapp really holds his own as like a really like compelling character. And you care for him. Yeah,
and also I love Renée Rigel, and I think we all cared for Renée. Again, you feel that again, like it's a mother, but you kind of feel like, you know, the aftermath when he goes, "Where's Will? Where's Will?" And you see, what are you doing? Peeing, and you kind of feel like the parenting there. There's kind of a big social commentary of, you know, as a parent, should you be more aware, which Black Mirror does look at in season 4, which we will talk about later. But actually, the one character I think we need to talk about, and the thing that I think we need to do about, and the person that everyone loved this season, Bob. Sean Astin.
Bob.
Oh,
what
a brilliant character. Sean Astin. And what made me laugh is that I put on Snapchat and everyone's like, "I love Bob." And I went, "You know about Samwise Gamgee from Lord of the Rings?" And everyone goes, "No way!"
Yeah.
There's this big kind of realisation. We go, "Oh, it's Sam."
Yeah. That is really brilliant. Cool, especially for Stranger Things as well.
But it kind of, you know, bring the nerdgasm there. Yeah. But it's just, he brings so much warmth to it, and I feel I love that scene when they do say, you know, where she's like, "I told Ward to go away," and it's like, it's classic parenting. But, you know, like, I love the way Stranger Things goes, in this world with classic parenting, it's not going to go the way you think.
It's funny because with Bob, he is quite a corny character in a way for most of it, and I actually didn't like him up until episode 8 when you kind of get to know him a bit better.
And then he just died.
Yeah. But then that kind of makes me reevaluate his whole arc, and he is a really good character.
Honestly, it wasn't like Snoke when he killed him off. He was killed off because, you know, and it worked because there was so much emotion there because you knew about him, and then he dies, and you feel the emotional heft in that. So that's a perfect thing as well. You have Peter Riley again. We have, you know, all the other characters are very good as well, and also Charlie Heath as well this season. The thing with Jonathan and Nancy, I love that development.
Oh yeah,
such a lovely narrative. I love the angst. Really nice teenager.
Yeah,
anyway, your comment on Nancy.
What do you think of Max and her brother?
I really liked that as well. Again,
I thought they were a really interesting addition because we know, like, all the other actors, obviously they're like on top of their game, but like with these two, that, you know, we weren't sure at the beginning, but
it's a really lovely character they have there, and I think the way Billy, I think there's a moment that there is. I know last season had a lot of self-reference, and there's one scene clearly that references it, and it is that scene with Billy and his dad, and immediately you go that scene in it where you see the bully, and it's like this again, and it is a classic Stephen King again, past generation, and we get that again. They're referring back to Stephen King idea, and it works well because that it does you. It's kind of possibly generic in a way. It's slightly conventional because with a bully you got it's all back to the parents and everything, so it is kind of a bit conventional, but it works as well overall. And I did like Max as well, and I loved go back quickly to Nancy and Nancy and Jonathan. I love that scene where they kind of, you know, let's not see each other, and then you realise, you know, and they build all the way through the season, and when it happens, it's just like, it's after kind of like, because the first season we have that build, and this season it really culminates, and it works, and it's like you feel like so much satisfaction.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably like the biggest shock of season 1 because you were expecting them to be together at the end. Now,
let's talk about the flaw, 11, and. That it is very painful to say that really 11 was a flaw this season, but it is a flaw. But there are good things with 11's characters this year. Topper and 11 work perfectly. They are. I love them as two characters. The way David Harbour this season, he just comes into his own. I'm really excited for his role in Hellboy because it's going to be really interesting what he does there. Yeah. But he's just a very funny actor this season. And yes, we had the Hopper meme this year, but the thing is, it does show the parenting works well, and I do love, like, you know, there's no TV for a whole week. No, like as a kid, like there is that with Mike and stuff, but as a kid as well, you're hard. Yeah, that's how I felt as a parent. I felt that as a kid as well.
Yeah,
you know, no TV role, and it's those lovely kind of small conversations that the Duff Brothers work perfectly. The conversations are just so natural, and they are a bit corny, but they work as well.
Yeah.
But the problem with 11 this season,
I think just as a general comment, I think in regards to the dialogue, I think it has improved a lot since series 1.
There's no more corny dialogue.
Yeah, it's much more believable, and for that reason, there are a lot more emotional moments.
Yes,
and it's really nice.
Like for example, a brilliant emotional moment is the psychic tantrum.
Yeah,
which is just such a beautiful, powerful scene there, and I think the way that happens is lovely. But the problem for me with 11 this season, the problem is she's too far off from the kids. They leave it a bit too late with 11 to come back in and be perfect, because it feels very rushed. Yes, he comes back at episode 8, and it's a great moment, but all that stuff was rushed very quickly, and it feels like there's not enough time. I felt she should have been introduced a bit more earlier on, so we get a bit more time with her and to come back, so we can get a bit more development there. And I felt that the thing with, and that had a problem with Mike, because then Mike didn't do anything, because the beating heart of pretty much of Stranger Things the first season was that Mike and 11 relationship, and that was the beating heart. You both care for them. That relationship developed, and yes, maybe they hold it back because we have developed that relationship so much in the first season. Yeah. But I just felt that as a character, she didn't do a lot, because she was acting very well. Millie Bobby Brown is a very good actor, and she learns a lot, and she's a very fine actress, and I do hope she does well in her career. Yeah. And she has openly spoke about, very passionate about this season and her character. But the other characters, because they're so underwritten with the way she reacts to them, there's no heft to them. Episode 7, yes, everyone complains about episode 7. The problem with that is that those three characters, including Kelly, the sister, they're so underwritten, and she's well written, to the point that when they both speak, you have no connection. I've no connection to these people, and I think it just feels like
it's a strange thing, because I feel like they introduce those new characters in an opening scene, and then we get them in episode 7. And I like the concept of episode 7, and I like a lot of things about it. But also, yeah, you're right. The characters, these new characters now feel completely wooden in comparison with the development we've seen from all the other characters. It's almost like they'd need a couple more episodes to build these guys up.
I think the problem for me with those new characters, that they just felt with that episode 7 was that I think it was a, yes, people may say it's a massive pace problem, but the problem was that it was one beat. The episode was one beat. The one beat was in the end she has to go back because she cares more about her friends than her, and that was literally 45 minutes of that. And it felt like, and you kind of know the point, and it's so predictable. I don't mind it, but it's so predictable.
I felt like the good things about that episode for me was I liked how it established the kind of like how broken you can become from being in this scientific laboratory, like seeing her kind of sister in a way, like, you know, being driven to kill these people. Yeah, that's like a really big deal, and I think it better illustrates the horror of the laboratory. But also, like it's made that point, but you know, we've already seen that point done before as well.
So it felt
with
really
11,
nice.
and also 11's mother as well.
I do understand, because I know Millie Bobby Brown. I've seen some interviews with her, and she has really spoken that she thinks episode was a brilliant episode, and I do understand that. But I think as an actress, yes, you may completely love it, because it's an 11-centric episode. Yeah. But as a story, and the Duff Brothers even said to it that they think it may not be a good episode, because they went, yes, we tried to take it out, but if we took it out, there's no, it doesn't work. And it was like people think the Canto Bite scene episode. If you take that out, it sets so much up for the last few episodes that you need that thing back in there. Exactly. And it works. But the thing is, though, yes, that episode, and the thing that makes this season so work is that episode 9. Episode 9 for me was one of the best hours of TV of 2017. It is just from beginning to end, when Mike and 11 meet, from that hug to the brilliantly acted Hopper and Mike scene where she says, I hate you, why do you do this? And he tries to understand it.
Oh, that was incredible. I've seen this today, and it was so powerful because I sort of started the film, I started the show, and like I wasn't really feeling in a kind of Stranger Things mood, as it were. But like the moment that scene happened, I was totally immersed again and just ready to like watch the episode.
And it's just that's such a powerful scene. You watch it and you just feel like it's the development, it's the way that's built for, because you kind of knew that was going to happen. Yeah. But when it comes, it's like they really go for it, and it's brilliant. I think
if there's anything the Duffer Brothers have definitely proved themselves on now as finales, like their 2 final episodes like completely validate the show. Like in the final
Dustin
series,
Stick,
like in that final episode of the first series, it suddenly becomes. The Stranger Things suddenly becomes a force to be reckoned with in that moment.
And in this feels like...
And you just reevaluate the whole series from that point. And then with this, it's just as strong. And I think it is because they have the same setup. It's kind of all of the characters coming together after kind of being through a big emotional plot line.
Yeah.
And so like you get a lot of really emotional moments and a lot of character building in that final episode.
I do love those 2 scenes. It's just so brilliant. And Dustin and Steve, the way that comes together, just beautiful. Like we don't know that bond that's going to come, but it comes, and it's just such a perfect bond. They work so together. And yes, it may refer to Stand By Me, but it works. And I think episode 9, because I think it all comes together at the end, and the dialogue there works. It's very exciting, and you do have that beautiful epilogue there, which is it's deserved. 50 minutes. It's a deserved ending to the series, and it's like a sequel. And the
thing with that was because I was kind of halfway through, and I was like, I really hope that they have the snowball at the end. Like I really hope that they have a happy ending for this series,
and they do,
and it's so nice. It's like such a relief to watch. Just all these characters get what they deserve at the end of it.
Because the thing is, we've had a lot of TV where, there's a lot of TV shows here where it's been like, doom and gloom at the end, and just...
Mindhunter.
Mindhunter, but also Game of Thrones. The wall breaks down, and the whites are coming in, and you also have, Free Girls, which that was justified. And Big Little Lies doesn't end happily either. So we do, it's nicely like a kind of a nice fairy tale ending. And yes, we do get that last sort of, there's possibly a resource of evil. Yeah. But if there wasn't a season 3, I wouldn't mind that, because it closes so well that I wouldn't mind to have seen. Yes, we are now getting a season 3.
I think mainly that sort of that kind of ending bit was mainly just, sort of a traditional horror film style, setting up maybe the next film, maybe not. Which I think is
beautiful
nice.
Shot though, the way the camera. Yeah. But overall, season 2 of Stranger Things, I'm going to give an overall review. I would give it 4.3 out of 5, and I would give that because I think the 4 is the purpose, but it's those last 2 episodes that just push up to a 3. It's not a 5 because I feel like if a 5 needs to be, that 7 needs to be better. If episode was a bit better and they really went for that, I feel that would have upped to a 5.
Final point on episode 7, I feel like season 3 could redeem it. I feel like it could, if we get more, it could add more context to that episode, that could work.
I feel I feel if they bring those characters into Hawkins and we get that, we bring
as
those
opposed to being separate,
rather than be separate. I think then it would work as a narrative, because then we can finally see.
So I think time could definitely improve episode 7.
But overall,
for me, if Stranger Things 1 is a 4.5. then I would say that Stranger Things 2 is a 4 for me, I think.
Why not the 5? Why not the 5?
Why
not the 0.5?
Because partly I think maybe I just need to watch it again. But secondly, I just didn't feel the build-up. What I really loved about the first series was the build-up and the mystery and the slowly discovering things. Stranger Things 2, I knew what was going to happen. It felt quite predictable. Not necessarily it wasn't necessarily focused on being a big mystery.
But it's the journey that it takes you that's so rewarding.
The journey is really rewarding, but it just didn't hit me in the same way, and so that's why the points lost there.
So that's your very late review of Stranger Things 2, but we both liked it. It's obvious we both liked it.
We've got another Netflix special coming up. We've got Black
this will
Mirror.
be quite quick because we haven't really seen it, so I will go through this quite quickly. But
yeah. moving straight on to Black Mirror,
which is recent, just came out a couple of days ago, and it's here.
It's another Netflix original.
We both like season 3, and I think season 3 overall is a good batch of episodes. And Black Mirror, they always have good seasons.
Yeah, I think season 3 is probably their strongest.
Yeah, I think Jan Repair is beautiful, and I love the end of Hating the Nation. Hating the Nation, the end of Hating the Nation, that really creeped me out because it just felt so eerie, and it was like that could actually happen.
That was incredible.
That was incredible, just an extraordinary end to it. It may not be a perfect episode, but the ending really has got a brilliant moral message at the end of that. So going to season 4, we know that it's been a long time. There's been a lot of speculation. They haven't done a lot of marketing on this, which is very good for this. And I think we don't know a lot about it. So I think possibly the episodes are very rewarding. And we didn't know the order either. So it's been very kind of in the shrouds here. But what I think we have overall, you've only seen episode 1, but I think personally, I haven't seen the last one, but I can kind of give an overall thing. We have a very nice, interesting, new batch of episodes. I don't think they're all perfect, but I think some of them are perfect, but I think some of them are very flawed. There's not very good ones, but there's some also very good ones. And the first one, USS Callister, which we are going to talk about because you have seen, I thought was absolutely brilliant. I didn't know. This was the one I wasn't hyped about. I thought this one I was going to hate.
Oh yeah, me too.
I was like, for
this
God's sake, it just
terrible.
looks terrible. It just looks so cheesy. It looks
but actually,
stupid, and you kind of knew, you thought, we're going to have a whole episode where we know what the ending's going to be. Here we go. What I loved about this, it played its hand very quickly on, so we knew the world straight away. And what we did get then was a very wonderfully complex, very conflicting episode that is not only about power, about people in power. It's an episode that's pretty much about sexism and commenting on that, and also it comments so much, and it was really
and
fun.
also like the whole kind of simulation theory as well. Like, are we all living in a VR universe or whatever? I know. I think we've kind of given away the point, but I think we have theories. No, but don't worry. No. I'm sorry. That was kind of stupid.
Well, if you haven't seen Black Mirror, turn off now. We will do a bit of spoilers here because by the time this edited, it would be February, so it would be fine. Anyway, but
we'll release it a bit late.
Yeah, we'll release it a bit late. But the thing is, but I think what I loved about USS Callister was that it was 1 hour and 50 minutes. I thought, an hour and 50 minutes, we're going to be here for a very long time. I'm going to be a bit bored by this. But actually, I thought the runtime was very justified. It set up the world enough. It had a decent mission. There was really nice ideas there. It had a very dark idea, and it was very dark. I mean, I was very creeped out. I mean, the scene that I thought was really dark was actually, yes, the idea that, your conscience is in this one thing and you can never leave this world and you're pretty much trapped here for eternity. That's quite dark, and that's very Charlie Brooker. But the thing that was also very dark was stuff with the child and everything. I thought, right, that is now very dark as well.
Yeah.
And it has a very happy ending, which is interesting. But
it has a kind of
happy because it's got kind of an ending I thought was very similar to Playtest. The end of Playtest. Yeah, the boy. Yeah. There's a very.
It's almost a development on the idea of Playtest, which I like.
I love Jesse Plemons. Just saying.
For me, USS Callister. I think what I really like, because Hated in the Nation was my favourite episode of the last series, and this is for me completely on par with that one. I like that it's slightly longer than the rest of them. I like that it kind of...
It's a good opener. Actually.
Yeah, it's a really good opener. It's almost like watching a film in a way. And it's really... And it's got all of the tension and action and interesting ideas of Hated in the Nation and lots of Black Mirror episodes. But it really stretches it out to make it more like a film almost, which is nice.
Well, I also really liked about that. It's a good opener because it shows that it sets the tone very well for season 4. The fact that it's going to be a different show. It's going to be we're going to have a Black Mirror idea, but we're going to pull in different directions. It's going to have very similar conventions, but they're pulled differently and they're done in a different way. And I like.
I think at least with the first episode there is more variation than we're used to.
Yeah, so I like that. Episode. Now you haven't seen. Do you want any more comments on USS Callister?
I'd just say I like the way they build it. I like that you kind of start with an idea and you're like, okay, where's this going? Then immediately you know where it's going, but then it kind of builds again and it builds and it builds and
it's
it
a
builds
very nice
to the end. It's very nice pacing, I guess, or structure. Yeah.
So moving on to that. Now I've seen the previous ones. I will not give them away. I'll try to figure out. Now,
I apologise about USS Callister. We'll put like a warning at the start, I reckon.
We'll put it. Now at the beginning of this, though, we have Archangel, the next one. Now Archangel is directed by Jodie Foster, and I would say this is the most conventional Black Hero episode, and kind of the most predictable, because if you see from the trailers, you know where straight this is all leading to, and it does lead to that. But I think the journey and the way it's directed and the way it's conveyed is really well handled. I like Jodie Foster as a director. I think Money Monster's fantastic, and she's done some very interesting pieces of work. She's done the House of, was it Orange is the New Black? And she also did that, what's it called? The Beaver, which was also very interesting. So what she do, and I think you can really feel her style in the show, because it's kind of an indie, conventional kind of American indie drama, but with a bit of Black Mirror thrown into it. And she works with actors well. She gets brilliant performances out of these actresses, and the two central leads. I forgot their names. I'll try and get names up now in a very fast fashion while I try to speak over this thing. Jodie Foster directed the episode. I think Rosemary DeReese and Brenna Harding, the two main leads, are brilliant in this. They are just, yes, the characters are conventional and they're very predictable, but the performances are well done. And
presumably we've got a child actor in this.
Yes, and we do have a child actor, but telling me more about would give me away some of the nice surprises there. But it's a very well episode. Yeah. We then had Crocodile. Now, Crocodile, directed by John Hillcoat.
This looked interesting because I didn't know, like looking through the episode descriptions, I couldn't tell what this one would be about. This is
the second worst.
Okay,
so I've kind of. John Hillcoat is a very good director. The Road is a great film, but with a brilliant kind of soap. It's shot very nice, but it's a real slow burner. I mean, this is, if we're talking about slow burners, I mean, this is like a candle and the flame, like you light a candle and you have a match. Imagine this, but it went on for about 5 hours. It is very slow.
Yeah.
I think it's the journey and its performances that do make it work. But I think you have to believe in performances. I didn't believe in them, so I felt it was a bit of a long slog. But if you did believe in them and you were engaged in the story that they had, I think you would find a lot more to be enjoyed about it.
Yeah.
There are some still nice. Andrew is very good. Kira Sonia Sowers is very interesting. I like the idea about the memory, which is also good. I thought the ending was a bit meh and stuff, but overall it was fine.
Yeah. For Black Mirror, I feel like, because you were saying that one was slow. Another example of a slow episode for me was
White Christmas. Sorry.
I like White Christmas actually, but The Entire History of You.
Oh, that's a brilliant episode.
I didn't like it at all.
That's my favourite.
I thought it was a real slow burn.
I think it was real slow, but I thought it was perfectly paced.
I think what kind of makes Black Mirror have kind of good pacing is when it kind of builds upon itself. And that's usually when Charlie Brooker is writing, actually. Yeah. Because Entire History of You was also a guest episode.
And I didn't like that. Now we had episode 4. Episode 4 is my favourite. And I don't think Black Museum 6 will take over. Hang the DJ. I absolutely love this. Essentially, it is the idea of this dating thing. Yeah. But the way they take it is so good. And that's pretty much all I can say about it. Because if I spoil enough, you would hate me for it. But it is just brilliant. Georgina Campbell and Joe Cole, the two main leads, are just perfect. The chemistry. This is an episode with chemistry, and you feel it, and you just want to. The writing is so much more cleaner. And Tim Van Patten, who's done some Game for Instance, and is a very much experienced TV director. It's quite a lot. He does a lot of wide, a lot of surprise. This is quite different. It's kind of a light-hearted episode, but it's brilliantly handled, very well done, and I really, really enjoyed it, and I really liked it. I think that's the best of the season. And then we had Metalhead, which is the black and white one. Now this
looked interesting.
I thought this was the weakest, but that's not me saying that I really enjoyed it. If I say an episode's weak, that's not me saying it's terrible, because I did enjoy bits of this.
Yeah.
But I think it's the way how kind of it all rounds up and finishes off is we have a letter coming through the door. But anyway, I think what I really liked though was that it's shot in black and white. I really liked that, and I really liked Maxine Peake as an actor. And I love the B-movie chase idea. It's just they run with it, and it's an idea and it works. But I think the way it ends and the way it kind of all rounds up is a bit kind of, it's very bleak, and it kind of feels like That's it, really. Yeah. So it's a bit kind of underwhelming, but though David Slade, though, who directed Twilight, and he's quite a very horror with Hard Candy.
Yeah,
he really goes for this. Like the tension is brilliant. Like the music is excellent. The chase sequences are really intense, and I just like that a lot about it. Now I haven't seen Black Museum, so I can't review that. But overall, from those episodes, I've liked it. It's a decent first series. It's very enjoyable. I wouldn't say though. People say, oh, if you binge it, you'll feel really depressed afterwards. I feel the scene's a lot more positive. There's a lot more positivity.
Season 3 was absolutely horrible.
Well, that's what I mean. From the beginning to the end. But there were some lovely ones in there though. But I think overall, those episodes were very bleak, and especially the last one, which was just with Hayden Nation, which had the most bleakest kind of paranoid. I felt so paranoid. I literally felt like, oh my word, what is it?
So how do you think it compares to Season 3?
I'm not sure,
because this is kind of Season 3 was kind of a fresh start.
I think Season 3 overall, I think it's not better than Season 3, but only just like these. Like they're still really well done episodes. Like they're all well shot and they're all well made. But I think possibly some of the ideas some ideas don't work well fully. I think some like stuff like Crocodile, the idea it's okay, but I think it's a bit, the way they present it is not that well done.
Yeah.
But I still enjoyed it though. There's still a better episode. I would give it a 4 out of 5 because I haven't seen Black Museum yet. But overall, it's a fine series. You can binge it. There's a lot more positivity, which is good though, because I think in a time of of turmoil and uncertainty, we need a bit of positivity.
Nice to have a bit of hope, even within Black Mirror.
Even within Black Mirror, was surprising. But yeah, that is your review of Black Mirror. And now we're going to do a roundup after this.
Yeah, that's right. A roundup of the year. And
talking
about some of our favourite shows, talking about some overrated films.
Well, there's one overrated one which we're going to pretty hammer home.
Yeah. And some underrated as well.
Underrated well.
So that will be next. So, to finish things off, we're going to do a bit of a roundup of the year, like our sort of best of list.
The worst list. Underrated, overrated. Yeah. Some recommendations as well, because I did see a film today I would want to recommend, actually, and some over recommendations. But let's start with the overrated film. Let's start with some overrated films here. The first film to talk about for overratedness. Now, this film came out, and the minute it came out, the critics went ballistic. Everyone went crazy about it, and us too. And I was like, okay, it was quite intriguing. And I had a choice between going to see Andy Serkis's Breathe or this film. Yeah. And I wished I saw Andy Serkis's Breathe and not this film.
Yeah.
And I gave this a 2 stars on my Letterboxd account, and I think this is the most overrated film of the year. Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
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 I didn't like it.
I think the thing, because it's taken me a long time to get to this realisation that I don't think it's as good as I thought it was. I enjoyed it, but it always felt like there was something missing, and it took you saying earlier on, you said, I didn't really like it, and then I thought, yeah, I didn't really like it either, actually.
Yeah, because I'd say there are many things, like, the overall consensus that it's so funny and it's one of the best Marvel films ever made, and it's just so brilliant, it's so wonderful, so wonderful. I called it Thor Ragnarok, but I called it Bored Dragged a Lot, which I am so happy that pun. No one's ever made that up.
That's it. Your career.
And the problem with Bored Dragged a Lot was that yes, in that thing, yes, it is boring and it dragged a lot. But the problem is that I can't deny it was funny. There were some jokes I found quite funny. I did like, for example, there's a bit where he says you're about to meet the Grand Master in 3, 2, 1, and then they cut away and it's just there's nothing there. Yeah. And that's a funny joke because that's quite deadpan funny humour.
Yeah.
But the thing with Taika Waititi is, and I love Hunt for the Wilder People, his previous film. I think that is a very funny film.
Oh yeah, no, that is a recommendation.
He's a dangerous kid. Yeah. He's a spanner in the works, and I'm the mechanic, and that is just very funny comedy. And I love that leader. I forgot her name. I forgot her name. I'll try and look her up.
She's in Thor Ragnarok.
Yes, she is. But I wish I had more of her, because every time she says something in Thor Ragnarok, she's really funny because she gets the humour.
Yeah.
But what I felt actually with watching this movie was that Rachel House, that's her name. She is very funny with Hunt for the Wilder People, and also quite funny here. I felt like with Taika Waititi, he brings a lot of deadpan humour, and in Flight of the Conchords, there's a lot of hey Brett, hey Jermaine, how you doing? I'm having a Barbie. What are you doing? And there's a lot of kind of like, you know, let's talk in New Zealand accents, and it may sound very funny. And there's a lot of, and my main issue with this, that it's that humour that is bringing to Thor Ragnarok, e.g. the character of Korg, who I didn't laugh at Korg. I just thought it was just someone who's just basically speaking normally. And it's like hello, I'm Korg. It's a bit sunny today, ain't it? And I don't find that funny. I just
see, this is where I kind of disagree with you, because I really like. I think that is kind of subjective at that point, because it's kind of I really love the humour of Fight the Conchords, like down to a T.
Oh yeah, I do.
Like,
yeah, I do.
Just the awkward, very matter of fact lines.
Yeah, there are
like when it's not even comedy, like when they're just talking, I still find it funny. So like Korg for me was a really great way of inserting Taika Waititi's kind of humour into the Marvel Universe, but it feels so weird because they have these two types of... Because Joss Whedon kind of set a standard for the style of humour that Marvel films, and now a lot of other films, are starting to do as well, which is this kind of like pulling the rug from under you, like it's like, oh, look at all these big serious superheroes, and then like, oh no, suddenly they, I don't know, what the tone was really set in the Avengers when Loki is doing his big speech and then Hulk just, you know, like waves him around like a little wand, and everyone found it really funny back then. But now, like, we've had this joke like a million times. Like, the film literally starts on Thor, like, he's talking to a bad guy really seriously, and then he starts like teetering away and, you know, like spinning round and with the rope and all that.
And then he actually whacks him back and forth as well.
And it's like every joke is the same with that. So that's like the Joss Whedon style humour that like we even found in Star Wars to some extent in this year.
Okay.
Yeah, but and it's good, but it obviously you do it enough times and it gets a bit boring.
The other thing I found was also,
but then it's even more confusing when you now have Taika Waititi's very, very different, very dry sense of humour popped into like the world of all of these Joss Whedon jokes, which are basically just subversion jokes, is what it is. And so it's kind of, it just doesn't gel.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I think that's what it just felt a bit like. This is a Taika Waititi film, but it's also a Marvel film. And I think it's weird.
But the other thing I didn't like as well was the running time. Oh my word! This should have been about half an hour short. This is too long of a movie.
How long was it actually?
It's about. I'll look it up quickly. It's 130 minutes. So it's 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And this should have been easy an hour and 50 or an hour and 45. This is a very. And I think the main thing for me is when they get stuck on Sakaar. And nothing happens until they go, we need to go up the devil's anus. And it's just like, oh my, what? It takes so long to get to that point.
We were saying earlier on that it felt very much like an in-between film. Like, it felt like you had your big films like Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Spider-Man Homecoming,
both really good.
And Thor. It just felt like they'd written this film just to catch up with the rest of, you know, the overarching plot, to make sure Thor and Loki and everyone were like kind of in the loop for the Infinity War. So like it's kind of, it just felt a bit like it was a stopgap between films, and that really didn't. Yeah. It just made for not much plot, really. Yeah,
and I felt actually the problem with Thor and Hulk is that the plot dances around a circle. And Marvel have been doing this a lot of their movies, e.g. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, where they just stick on that one planet with the dad, and nothing happens. There's a lot of conversations, a lot of jokes, a lot of conversations, and then something happens, and then we get a plot. And it's same thing here, where nothing happens. And they repeat the same conversation.
I feel
again.
like I enjoyed it up to the point that they got to the planet. It felt... Because the thing is the way they marketed it as well, they kept saying it's going to be an intergalactic adventure across universes. And the first part of the film is really nice, especially when they meet Doctor Strange as well. Good, and the way they kind of bounce between planets and the Earth and everything. But then the moment you get to this planet, completely slows down.
And for me,
and it doesn't really, I don't know, it doesn't really encapsulate what the film was trying to be
about. Jeff Goldblum is very fun. He's fine in this film. Like it's Jeff Goldblum. It's Jeff Goldblum playing Jeff Goldblum, so it's fine. But the thing is that I felt like the plot just danced around in this circle, and they kept being saying, like, for example, they go, yes, Hulk wants to be human. Yes, Hulk wants to be, and yes, I repeat that, yes, and Thor needs to find something, and yes, and Thor likes Valkyrie, and it's like, yes, I know it, why are we repeating this? And it's like, we're having the same thing again. Yes, Thor needs to be with Loki. Yes, I was like, I know all this stuff.
Yeah.
Why am I here for 2.5 hours? It's not 2 hours and 10 minutes. Sorry.
It feels like it.
And also, and then my love thing as well, Hela. Oh dear, Kate Blanchett. What I thought was that she was a very good villain, but the minute they do improvisation, where she'll go, "I'm an evil wizard." Oh wait a second, how's you got to get the light there? And immediately it's like break out of character, and immediately it's like doesn't work. It didn't.
Well, like, there's those kind of jokes coming in,
and it's stuff like that where immediately it's like it's the random improvisation, and it just immediately undermines Hela. It immediately undermined the villainy, and it was just like. It was just so random. It doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
It was very random. But I mean, I didn't mind some of it, but I really think it's extremely overrated. It's like Mad Max Fury Road, where everyone goes, "It's an amazing movie." It's just a 2-hour car chase. It's like everyone goes with Thor Ragnarok, "It's so funny. It's so hilarious. It's like it's just a Marvel film. It's just there's nothing there." And I really didn't. I was actually quite disappointed. I came out going. I should have come out thinking, I should have laughed a lot, I should have found it very funny, but I just came out just going, like a really deep, unsatisfactory sigh.
I came out going like, oh, it was alright. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it was a Marvel film.
That was like Moon, it came out Moonlight. Yeah. Well, that was very interesting.
Yeah, but with Moonlight, it grew on me. With Thor Ragnarok, it's just so
it didn't grow.
It just didn't really do anything.
It did the opposite of growing. It slowly just, like this seeping soul. I just didn't know. So yeah, Thor Ragnarok. But and then I have to put another overrated movie, and I'm so sorry I'm putting this on here. Murder on the Orient Express.
No, I've not actually seen it. I've heard it's all right. I've heard some people said it's very good. Some people said it's all right. I don't think I've heard anyone say it's bad.
I've been chatting to a lot of people about this, and I've got opinions about it. I think I've now finally got it. If you haven't read the book, which I have read, if you haven't read the book and you don't know the ending, then you will find it a very intriguing story, and you'll really like it.
Or you've watched the countless adaptations.
However,
that came before
it. Or the David Suchet one, which is masterpiece. However, if you have read it, you might not like it because it's so procedural to a point, in that basically it didn't feel like a film. Because every now and then they will go, here's a CGI shot of the Orient Express, and it goes, that's a film. And it makes you think it's a film. And then it just, let's get back to doing it. And it's like the camera is always inside this train. And it just felt very uncinematic looking. And it just didn't feel engaging as always. And I don't say this a lot. I don't say it. I found it boring.
Yeah.
I found it really boring to a point where it's like, and the acting was not that great. Look at the cast list: Kenneth Branagh, Penelope Cruz, Willem Dafoe, Judi Dench, Johnny Depp, Josh Gad, Derek Jacobi, Michelle Pfeiffer, Daily. This should be a really good, well-acted movie, but all the people like Judi Dench and Kenneth Branagh and Derek Jacobi just goes Cockney and starts speaking like, well, I'm the butler. It's like, be a bit more engaging. And then you had Josh Gad, who was fine. Johnny Depp, who goes, and it's the Johnny Depp. It's not the Johnny Depp, I'm Jack Sparrow, or the crazy one. It's the, everybody speaks a bit. This voice, it's a very low one. This is the Johnny Depp performance of Edward Scissorhands, and the Johnny Depp performance of all those other normal. It was quite like, I'm trying to be very subtle, but I'm actually not subtle. And there was that performance. And
so was it all a bit phoned in?
Oh yes, and then you had Kenneth Branagh, which was like, the film starts, and you think, and she's like, you're not speaking French, and he finds the accent finally, but it's like, and there's these 3 evil victims here as he tried to kill each other in the blue. It's like this strange kind of English meshing to French transformation, and I found it very boring. I was actually talking to somebody about it, and they said, well, I actually really liked it, but I felt the way how they portrayed, the way how this case come together, I didn't like. and I found that quite interesting actually. But I just felt like all the way through, it just wasn't that interesting. It was a bit unengaging. I think if you're an audience, you might find it a bit more enjoyable, but I just didn't really find it.
You said it felt a bit. I remember you saying it felt like a bit like a TV.
Yeah, I said that
made for TV.
It is made for TV. It felt like a
BBC One Christmas Eve.
Yeah, it just. Yeah. If this was on BBC One on Christmas Day or on Christmas Eve, and it was the same cast, like same cast without with some other some other small TV act like James Norton just pops up in there or something like that. If it was that, I think this would have been a better piece of work. But because it was a film. And you had really good actors here. I mean, really like the creme de la creme, as they say. Oh, very good French. Yeah,
English to French.
The creme de la creme.
Yeah.
It had everything going for it, and it just didn't work. And there's nothing new about it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't. And it was produced by Ridley Scott. So there might be a reason why it was a bit slow. More ponderous. Yeah, but that was a bit of a disappointment movie. That was, I wasn't a huge fan of Murder on the Orient Express. And those are two movies I saw at the half time. I saw two really good films. Yeah. I saw these two really overhyped mainstream movies, and I was like, no.
What, you had another overhyped, or it's sort of overhyped. We watched it yesterday.
Watched it yesterday. Oh yes, The Greatest Showman.
What do you reckon?
Right.
Whistle stop tour through the Greatest Showman.
Right, whistle stop tour, Greatest Showman. We'll have a quick stop here. Greatest Showman. It's got a lot of publicity here, and I think if you don't like musicals, I think if you don't like, I think you might enjoy it. It really depends on how many films you've seen over time. If you've seen a lot of musicals, then you're not going to like this. Yeah. So I did, and let's say it's now. La La Land is like Citizen Kane compared to this. Okay, this is Sex, Lies of the Potato Man. I mean, not that bad, but it's near the bottom end of the scale. Let's say.
Yeah.
It's what I didn't like about this film is that it's a period piece. So it's a period piece, and we've got 18th century music. Why am I hearing trap beats in the instrumentation?
Yeah.
Why am I hearing pop piece sounds? Why am I hearing everything that sounds like a rehash of a song over the last 8 years? Why is this all happening? It made no sense. And what I love about it, they go, it's like from the lyric writers from La La Land. It's like, yeah,
it's a bit of a stretch at that point.
Yeah, it's
maybe, I don't know, from the writer or director of La La Land, or it might be a different story.
From the composer of La La Land.
Yeah,
from
exactly,
the music
exactly.
It's like from the music, from the sound of music. It's like, wow, I'm going to go see this. It's like, no, but from the people who wrote the words.
Yeah.
I mean, I bless the art. I mean, it must be quite hard, challenging. But I mean, if you read some lyrics to this, absolutely. This really just strange show. It was just. I think the thing is, I didn't mind the acting. I actually think Sam Efron was actually very good in it. I mean, actually, because he's done High School Musical, and there's a really good song called "Rewrite the Stars," which I think was the only point where I actually thought, okay, this is actually I can see the musical. I thought the Lady song, it's been played so much. It was like. And because they overdo it too much at the end, it grates my voice. Because okay, you can hit a really nice top note, you don't need to know it, but what I didn't like is the minute it started, my alarm started ringing. The opening starts, you get the old-fashioned 20th Century logo, and then we get the actual logo of 20th Century Fox. So they give you two logos. It's and you hear this, all of a sudden you just then hear a what? It's like no, okay, and you hear sort of Imagine Dragons style.
To me, it sounds like it's really just trying to ride off the coattails of La La Land.
But it's not La La Land.
It's nothing like it.
It's nowhere near it.
I understand it's nothing like it, but they're definitely going for the glitz and the glamour of La La Land, but with none of the actual thought.
I will. Let's read some lyrics from The Greatest Showman. This is the first song.
So these are the lyrics
from the first number.
Yeah.
Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for. Been searched in the dark.
This is
your
Hugh
sweat
Jackman,
soaking through the floor, and buried in your bones, there's an ache that you can't ignore. Taking your breath, stealing your mind, and all that was real is left behind. It's like, ah!
Does he wink at the end of every line?
No, John, no, you feel like so. It's over. It is. Alright. It's like, don't fight it. It's coming for you. Running at it's only this moment. Don't care what comes after. Your fever dream, can't you see it getting closer? Just surrender, because you feel the feeling taking over. It's fire, it's freedom, it's flooding open. It's a preacher in the pulpit, and you'll find devotion. Do you know what, if Eminem rapped this, it might sound like a really nice rap. But because it's a song, it just sounds like some sort of, and it's just the music is on the trappy beats, it just doesn't work. And then, like, there's the Justin Timberlake-y soundy song, and then there's some and it just felt really kind of... Like, the choreography I didn't mind. I didn't feel fake. I thought it was going to feel all really fake, but it didn't feel that fake. I mean, there was some interest, and you can see, like, with some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, that it wasn't fake. But it was so... It was like... Do you know what I described it as? I described it like a big piece of, like, I described it to you. It's like, when you have, you spray gel. Yeah. You spray, deodorant, where. And when you smell deodorant, it smells nice. But then when you smell it even more, it smells disgusting. It was like this with the film. It's like it's really sweet. It's really sweet. It's really sugary. But the more you get into it, it's like okay, I need to really start to move away from it. It's not bad by any means, but it's not great, as many people I've seen on my Snapchat overrating it as. But I can see why people are, because it's quite a very inspirational story. But there is one thing at the end where like they have a critic character, and the critic character goes, well, you may think this is a freak show, but I think it's a freak show, but some people may think that this is a celebration of diversity. And it's like, no shit, Sherlock. It's just...
How on the nose can you get?
Yeah, I mean, it's so... there's a lot of on-the-nose dialogue in it, but... Yeah, I'm not wasting my time with it. I'm not wasting my time, because it's not overrated, but it's just meh. Just like, it's there. It's just a big sigh.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some underrated films. Like, what's your...
Yeah, what are some underrated... To be honest,
some movies you thought...
I haven't really thought of anything that's really underrated.
I have one that I really saw.
You go first.
Yeah. Underrated.
Yeah.
Well, The Dark Tower. Now,
what?
Yeah, I know. When this came out, everybody I saw I actually went into this. I went into this embracing the worst.
Yeah.
And I actually really enjoyed it. Now, I haven't really read the book, so that might be my enjoyment. But I think what people wanted a 2-hour Lord of the Rings style, really deep mythology movie that does all the books, and it's all full of exposition, full of weight, full of head. But actually, what they've made is a very light adventure it's a very good rompy adventure with some very exciting action sequences. The opening's actually quite scary with some very Stephen King ideas.
Yeah,
and I enjoyed it. I didn't mind it. I think. I really liked it. I came out thinking, it's before drugs, but I really, really enjoyed it. I was so surprised. It's directed by Nikolai Arcel, who did the A Royal Affair, which was his last film, which was a very interesting kind of foreign language movie that's all about aristocracy.
It's quite a leap then.
Yeah, Starleaf Canada. So it's quite interesting, but like opener. This has been 6 years in the making. It's been taking like 25 years, or 15, so long to take to get screened. And yes, we are going to have a sequel television series, so we're going to have more to shape out of it. But as a first film, I didn't mind it. I thought it was very enjoyable, and I liked it a lot. And I know people are going to moan and go, no, it's not. It's a pain in the backside, but you have to go and see it.
Theo, I think you will have to defend yourself here, because, I mean, with The Dark Tower, you've got a massively amount of scathing reviews, and obviously this came out similar time to it, or at least it was kind of.
It's not better.
Kind of in the public consciousness.
It's not better than it.
But what made it good for you?
What made it good for me? I just thought I liked the characters. I liked the performances. I liked the fact that actually it wasn't really heavy down exposition, heavy down lore. And that actually, I was very pleased it wasn't some sort of, Peter Jackson 2-3 hours, sitting down, and just a lot of people sitting down and going, well, do you know what? I really love that story. Do you know, that really reminded me of this interesting story of a wizard, and then we sidetrack into some sort of magical realm. No, instead it's streamlined. It's 90 minutes. It's a streamlined. It's short. It's in and out. I like 90 minutes. I don't mind it. It's like the best kind of B movies where it's like 89 minutes in and out. Thank you very much. It is 90 minutes. Straight down, streamed down. Yes, it may be too streamed down. People wanted more depth, more in depth. But the thing is, if you wanted that, then watch Lord of the Rings. And if you're not, and if you're a fan of Dark Tower, and I think this is bear in mind, I didn't read the book, so if I'd read the book, I would have had a different opinion to this. But
yeah, I mean, I'd say it's probably the main complaint about it is that it's just a bit of a bastardization of the original.
Yeah, it's a bit too watered down, possibly. But like, as a summer movie that everyone thought was terrible, and I can't think, that was actually better than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
And I'd rather have it than rather it being just some really dreadful kind of annoying movie, like the Emoji Movie, which I thought, I'm spreading the words, and actually it was fine. But it is some dark commercial piece of crap. But actually, it was fine. It's there. That you can't do anything about it. It's not that bad. But yeah, right.
Yeah. I'm gonna say for my underrated film or piece of media rather.
Piece of media.
I'm going to tie it in with my film list. My roundup of the year. So
we can start now with the list now.
Yeah. Who wants to go first?
You go first.
I'll go first.
I've got a top 11. You've got so now we're doing the top roundup, possibly roundup. We can do TV shows, possibly stuff like that. Yeah. But the roundup overall, the top 11. Here's Caleb's top.
Mine's top 5, in fact.
5.
Yeah. So it's been expanded slightly since we last talked. And it's actually got an order to it. So
number 5.
We'll go from the bottom.
At 5.
At number 5.
You should do like all the Jeremy Johns. Number 5.
So I'm going to start with, and don't kill me for this, I'm placing Blade Runner 2049 in 5th place. So it is bottom of my list, but it is still one of the best films I've seen this year.
I'm holding back.
So with Blade Runner,
it's hard to fight this. Like
we've talked about it in depth before. I feel like I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was just a great sort of building on the original. And I actually think I prefer it to the original in a way. I really enjoyed the way they expanded the world, but I think we've already kind of talked about the problems we had with it, and mine was mainly to do with I found the treatment of women in the film still kind of.
You didn't like the fact that Officer K, everyone fell in love with Officer K.
Yeah, I just think that the theme. It wasn't to do with the imagery. I think the imagery's fine. It was just the characters themselves.
Like they all had
the female characters themselves all had something for Kay.
And that final scene where they randomly kiss.
Yeah, and it's just a bit. I don't know. It just rubbed me the wrong way, especially considering the first Blade Runner film also had some problems with sexism within it, and so I feel like they could have done more to build upon that. Okay. Still, really good film. Yeah. So
you should. And the key thing is, if you haven't seen the first Blade Runner, watch that before you see the second one.
Yeah.
However, I will talk about something that in my list. I'm maybe giving away, but I
think everyone has Blade Runner on their top films of the year
except
list.
for Vox.com.
Yeah, apart from Vox. And so now we've got a bit of a curveball at number 4 because I'm not just doing films this year because I do enjoy a bit of TV.
You're going to do a science sound here where we go, number 3 is called by name, and number 2 is Twin Peaks.
Yeah. Yeah. So mine in 4th place is Master of None.
Which I still haven't watched.
Which I really recommend. I recommend it every time I talk about it.
You've talked about it. I think it's
talked about it a total of
3 times.
Yeah, 3 times now. And with Master of None Season 2, I definitely think it is the better series. It really builds on what the first one was trying to kind of talk about, except in a different light. And I don't know, it's just a really nice. It's really hard to describe why it's good without watching.
Really nice.
It's got a lot of style. It's really well written. The characters and the dialogue. It's very
funny.
Very funny. Yeah, and it's got a great soundtrack. I just think it's really worth watching, and it's one of the better Netflix offerings this year.
Yeah. Offerings? Wow, was there been worse offerings than Netflix this year?
Yeah.
13 Reasons Why, possibly?
Yeah, for example.
13 Reasons Why?
Well, I haven't seen 13 Reasons Why, to be fair. But I've heard
I've only saw the first,
I don't like the idea of it.
I saw the first 3 and I found it pretty boring. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah, we're not reviewing 13 Reasons Why.
Yeah.
So third place.
Number 3.
And this.
I love the build-up. This is number 3. Oh, it's number 3.
So this is such a lovely film, and I think you'll know what it is.
Yeah.
I watched it recently. It's a really lovely film to watch around Christmas time.
We had to abandon you this evening due to certain circumstances. I couldn't get your opinion on this film.
But in third place is Paddington 2, which is just such a lovely film, and it just melts your heart when you look at Paddington's little eyes.
I'm so sorry.
It's so, and the thing I really loved about it, we went to see it in Odeon Orpington.
Oh yeah, as you do.
And it's a film that really the whole family can enjoy because
it's better than the first one. I say.
Oh no, definitely. I think they have individual strengths. I think Paddington 2 has a real sense of adventure to it. First one has really great character development. That's my 2 cents. But Paddington 2, I really loved how when we went to the cinema, like the back row was just us. We were like the oldest people in the cinema. It was like my whole family, plus my friend James. You know James.
Yeah.
And we were all watching it, and we just all really enjoyed it, and it was hilarious. And like you get so many of the jokes. Like there's so many jokes aimed for both adults. And children.
But it's very hard to do with family movies.
It's not like innuendo. It's not like it's not just some cheap DreamWorks film. It is like properly like the humour's just really good.
It's a bit like Pixar,
and it's great to just see like this child in front of us, like when this is a spoiler alert now. When Paddington goes off to prison, that's kind of revealed in the trailer. This kid in front of us, he stood up. He was like on the edge of his seat. All the kids were like standing up, watching it. Like one started crying. Like they were so invested in the film.
It was so brilliant to see someone crying.
Yeah, but it was just. I think it's just a really nice film, and I think it pays homage a lot to Wes Anderson as well, which I think is really nice.
I know.
Wes Anderson is one of my favourites.
And he's got a new film coming out this year.
Yeah,
Isle of Dogs.
Yeah.
But Paddington 2.
So
I may talk about that later, possibly.
Perhaps. And then in second place.
At number 2.
It is. And I saw this quite a while ago. This was quite an early film in the year, so it really holds its own.
Yeah.
Is Get Out.
Oh my!
Just a brilliant horror film.
I would say it's not comedy. I say it's more of a horror film.
It is. For me, it was a horror film.
I watched it with my mum, and my mum liked it. And my mum doesn't watch a lot of horror films.
I think she's watching it right now.
Yeah, my mum's watching it downstairs right now, actually, with my stepdad. So she's watching it again. It tells you.
Yeah.
Actually, it's been really interesting seeing all the end of the year list, and Get Out is in that top. It's in the top 5. It's in the top 5, actually.
It's just. I think what is so great about it is that it's a completely different narrative to what we're used to. It's from a different perspective. That's really nice.
The only thing I did find a bit funny, I did find, for example, when the deer smashes the car, I found that funny at the opening because it's just very random. And I think there's so much like that.
Well, I think it's a nice idea, and it reminds me of Black Mirror in a way. It's kind of, it starts with the concept is almost a joke.
Rabbit, run.
The concept seems almost like, is this more comedic? Like this could go in a comedic direction, or it could go in a horrific direction. And they kind of push it in the horrific direction. And they do that with Black Mirror a lot as well. They often, like the initial idea is usually kind of a joke. And it's like a joke if you were to push it to absolute extremes. So Get Out's like, it's just such a great film. And I think it has a really nice kind of lesson as well about kind of racism isn't like saying something negative about race. It's saying anything, generalizing in any way
can be racist.
And I really like that message, and it's a really important message to have in a film because that's not really been explored. It's really nice to have that film. Those stories.
It has been nominated for best musical comedy. And then everyone says, Jordan Peele described it on Twitter as a documentary. So
there you go.
There you go. Okay.
But first place
at number 1. I don't know what it is actually. I'm quite intrigued.
What do you think it will be? Just out of interest.
Valerian and Pursuit of 1,000 Planets.
In first place, and this is also my underrated film or TV show.
I'm quite worried about it. Yeah.
It is Mindhunter.
Oh, okay. Oh, you did review this last week?
I did review this, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. But with Mindhunter, what I find is that it was the most forget Stranger Things season 2, forget Black Mirror. Mindhunter was the most captivating bit of TV. Forget Doctor Who. That's lower down on the list.
What about Twin Peaks?
I haven't seen Twin Peaks yet, so I can't comment on that.
But
with Mindhunter, it was probably the most captivating bit of media I've just consumed all year. It was so good. It was every episode I had to watch another one. I was so intrigued, and it's just
Fincher's
the character development, the direction. It's just so well done, and so it's kind of masterful. It's really nice.
I should watch it. I did try to watch it,
and the reason I say it's underrated is because the first episode is very slow moving. But after the intro, it's very slow moving. You kind of have to watch the first 2 episodes to understand what the show is about. So a lot of people I've recommended it to, they don't really follow up on it. So it's kind of, I'd say it's underrated because it really hasn't been talked about among all these great Netflix shows. So yeah,
there's
Mindhunter's up there, number 1 for me.
It's quite interesting. Okay, so number 1, right?
So what about you, Theo?
Shall we do my list?
Yeah, let's. So coming up next, we'll have
Theo's Roundup,
which is 11 films rather than
11 films.
Very unconventional.
So welcome to Theo's Roundup of the top films of the year. Let's start with some. I'll start first with a couple of interest movies that weren't in this, and a couple of stuff that I kind of really enjoyed this year. Like in terms of raw, it's been a really good year for film. I mean, like you can see, right, it's a top 11, not a top 5 like last year. This has been a really strong year for film. I've seen a lot more films as well this year, actually, which is amazing after last year. But I've seen a lot more, and I mean, also our TV as well been very strong this year. Yes, we've had Strange Things season 2, and this is all very strong. We've had Game of Thrones season 7, which yes, many people thought the timing and the pacing was a bit off, but the last scene when the wall comes down, that's enough for me to go brilliant. Just a brilliant cliffhanger to leave off until 2019. Such a shame as well. And then you have Broadchurch finished this year, which is just a brilliant thing that had a wonderful message at the end, which was so powerful this year, and I think it's one of the best. Which I think is the best series out of all of them. Actually, I think it's wonderful. You really got to watch it because Chris Chibnall written it, and it's got David Tennant and Olivia Colman in it. And Chris Chibnall is take over Doctor Who, which saw. And then we had Doctor Who this year, which I finally caught up with Doctor Who actually, and I thought it was okay. Season 10. I didn't really like the ending. I didn't like the way they killed the Master and everything. And I thought the Chris Chibnall was okay, but we still got that next year. We'll talk about it later when we may not be here when Jodie Whittaker does come back, but we've got.
It'll be autumn time.
It'll be autumn time.
We can give our 2 cents in somewhere or another.
We can give our 2 cents. And so let's have the top 11 films of the year. Let's start with some honourable mentions. The honourable mentions. So these films that didn't make the list.
Oh wow!
Baby Driver.
Yeah, that is an honourable mention and a half.
Mention and a half. Yeah. Jackie, which I thought was absolutely brilliant. I went into, I thought I didn't really expect this film to be, and I thought it was brilliant. Natalie Portman on form once again. He's got Annihilation Crown this year, which is the new Alex Garland film. I'm so super excited.
That's straight to Netflix, you know.
Is it straight to Netflix?
Yeah, get Netflix.
I thought Annihilation is coming out on cinemas.
It's having a simultaneous release.
I'm going to look.
We'll talk about that later.
I'll look that up because I've never heard that. That's just news to me straight away. I know that's my voice suddenly peaks up a bit. So Jackie. Wonder Woman, which I thought was which again one of the best superhero films, fantastically brilliant. I did say the shot about Jackie, but Mika Levy's score, everything like that. Mika Levy's score, Natalie Portman's brilliant performance. Yeah. John Hurt as well, late John Hurt. T2 Trainspotting, which was a wonderful sequel to the original Trainspotting and yes, it's a lot more. Kind of homage, a lot more kind of self-reflecting on the world, but just has a brilliant scene in the bar in this Protestant bar, which is one of the most funniest scenes of the year.
Oh, that was brilliant. Yeah.
It, the comedy, the horror film of the year, but comedy slash horror. It was some comedy. Yeah. So, Spider-Man: Homecoming, which was absolutely fantastic. Battle of the Sexes, which
I haven't seen that.
Which I thought was very good, but I did see it on an evening when you saw Paddington 2. And
there you go.
Yeah, and if you remember the events of that evening, then yes, yes, eventfully nice. Battle of the Sexes is really interesting. Emma Stone was excellent in it. I don't think she's going to get any kind of Wars of Cool. I think she might get a couple of like nominations, but she won't win anything. But
Yeah.
it's a good performance from Emma Stone. Quite powerful, quite moving as well. It has just stuff with gay rights and everything as well in it. What else? You have Logan in there as well, which was I thought was really good movie. I'm sorry it was film studies at the moment, and actually there were some bits where we've been picking it apart, and actually there's some bits where I think which are actually quite bad stories. How Javier's death's killed quite quickly, and then the movie at the beginning, which was the best movie I thought, and now it's not in this listing. Well, it doesn't mean it's very good. It was.
This is the top of the honourable mentions.
The top of the mentions. The Levelling, which was Hope Dixon-Leach's debut, which is a wonderful debut. Yeah. Fantastic. I forgot as well. I forgot Revenge on this list as well, which was another.
That's another one.
There'll be so many mentions.
Go away from us.
And now the top 11. So at number 11, I've cheated and I've given myself 2 films in my top 11, but they're both very similar.
Oh wow!
War of the Planet of the Apes and is the first one, which is a fantastic conclusion to the War of the Planet of the Apes series. Andy Serkis on form again. Very, very moving. Very, very kind of. Quite thematic as well. I thought it's one of those thought-provoking blockbusters this year that really kind of it dealt with not only did it deal with the apes and the war. It dealt with a lot to do with racism and a lot with how you treat people and kind of it was some very powerful scenes in it as well. And also leads on to the other film with racism at number 11, Detroit. Catherine Bigelow's brilliant. I know. Oh yeah.
I heard of it. Yeah, I know about that one.
I love the way that you go. Oh yeah.
I missed that one.
Detroit. Catherine Bigelow's. If you've seen Catherine Bigelow's film, you know what's going to be here. It's a very, very muscular filmmaking, incredibly haunting. I mean, there's this. The whole scene deals with this kind of just one event, and they try and basically Will Poulter on stunning form here. I mean, incredible form. I couldn't believe it. It's just brilliant. He is. Will Poulter is. John Boyega's he's in it, but he's not in it a lot. But Will Poulter steals the show, and it's a very moving film. It's a very hard film to watch. I wouldn't say it's for the faint-hearted. I wouldn't say it's for the faint-hearted because it's quite powerful. At number 10. The Florida Project, which was the...
I should stop saying that. That's a bad... It's a boring response. Yeah. That film came out this year. I didn't see it.
I didn't see that this year. But I should actually see it. The Florida Project. I caught late... This
is everyone listening. I'm just voicing the people listening to the podcast.
Yes. I caught this film quite late on. But I saw the Florida Project. I'm so happy I saw it. This is a... very powerful, and I keep saying very powerful for some reason. No, but actually what I really loved about the Florida Project was that the child acting was wonderful. It's a film that has Linklater's kind of fingerprints all over, even though it's not directed by him. But Sean Baker, he's really just... He's made a very humanist film that's about growing up and responsible parenting.
Am I right in thinking this is the Tangerine?
Yes,
director?
the Tangerine director, yes, which is another really good film as well. But across the board, Brooklyn and Prince, brilliant. Bria Vinette, who plays as the mother, who's just really heartbreaking, but very interesting as well. And also its use of colour as well in this film. It's the pink coloured bricks with the oranges and the cream colours of buildings. It's the design. It's this magic castle. It's this wizard house, it's this orange cafe, and it's all kind of on this backdrop of Hollywood and of Disney on Orlando, Florida. And then as well, you have kind of the way how they place the camera, where it's like it's at her height, so you see the world through her eyes, a bit like Jack in Room. And then you have also Willem Dafoe, who's just brilliant in this film. I really enjoy it. I love Willem Dafoe. When he turns up well in the film, you cannot help yourself but love Willem Dafoe. I think is he in Pulp Fiction, Willem Dafoe?
I don't know.
He might have been, but he was brilliant in that. But the thing is, I did have one guy. I think there was one sequence that made a very important plot point, but I think it might have been overdone a bit too much. But apart from that, there are some very powerful scenes. Like Mooney kept copying, the mother's behaviour. Like, for example, smoking and listening to rap music and trap music. That's quite very upsetting to watch on the screen. But it's the humanist nature of it, and I really, really liked it. I thought it was a very, 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 very interesting film. So I really were powerful. At number 9, the most controversial film of the year, the film that I finally did go and see. I had to sneak into a cinema because I wasn't 18 at the time. Mother. Darren Aronofsky.
Yes. See, I've changed the way I say it, so now it's more
Darren Aronofsky's Mother,
varied.
which was a film that the trailers looked very interesting.
This was an odd one,
but it wasn't the film that people thought.
It was marketed as a horror film.
Yeah, it was marketed as a horror film, but it's not really a horror. It's kind of like this. It's very much Darren Aronofsky kind of commenting on the world. But what I loved about this film, I think what I loved the most about it is that it was a Darren Aronofsky film because you knew it was. It like the camera, the way they moved the camera around. It was always quite close. It was always behind Jennifer Lawrence's face, and it made it very paranoid. Like they were always turning very sharp around corners. You never knew what was going to pop out. It wasn't like a horror, but it was just it was the paranoia.
Yeah,
it was like the claustrophobia that made it quite intense for a watch. Very similar to one film we did, Black Swan, back in 2011.
Yeah, that's right.
Jennifer Lawrence is just astonishing in this movie. Like she really gives it a go here, and it's interesting because I think if they did Jennifer Lawrence, this movie would not have had a lot of money, not a lot of stuff. Right?
Yeah.
In terms of plot, I think yes, people go, oh, it's some really kind of crazy thing, and I think it's you decide the ending for yourself of it, because like I thought it was linear. I thought it had a beginning, middle, and end. I mean, and whether you're satisfied with the ending, you can be satisfied for yourself. But I love the way that it was all down on Aronofsky's things. It was there's metaphysical, there's otherworldly things in it. There's a lot of close-ups. He has a certain thing that follows all the way through. It's very Aronofsky, and I really like it. I'm very pleased to put it on this list because it's not that everyone has got on this moment. At number 8, a film you've talked about a moment, Get Out, which is the Jordan Peele film. Yes, we've talked about it a lot. And I do want to do that, but it's
fairly low down the list.
They're very far down. Yeah, I know, but
Interesting.
At number 8, Get Out. Yeah. But I think to add to some of your points actually, what I also thought was actually very interesting about the film. So kind of continue what you said.
Yeah.
Was actually the way how kind of it was very it was very It went in ways that you wouldn't expect it to go. For example, there's a sequence where where he falls into the television, which is so David Lynch, and you just immediately that's
quite surrealist.
Surrealist, and that's and I thought that is a very brave move there, and pulled off very well.
Yeah,
and I think I even possibly have a slight gripe. This is a very slight gripe. Is that some of the commentary is very on the nose. And it's not done subtly a bit too much. For example, when they say, what's it like to be a black guy? It's a bit like, it's a bit too on the nose there for me.
But for me, I think there's time for subtlety and then there's time for actually because I think this, it is a political film, like at the heart of it. And when you're doing political satire, you kind of you kind of have to be black and white about what you're saying.
So there's there's basically all the things you've said there. It is funny. It's very sharp, very scary actually, and when in places I didn't expect it to go, and it is definitely. Number 7, a film I talked about last time out, The Death of Stalin, the really funny comedy that was a very funny satire based on the time of Stalin's death. I think I've talked about it quite enough in that review, but all the things again extremely funny, like overall it's like jokes after jokes. Inucci on top form, like the performances around are very good. Postjag's Silence might not be, but still he's still very funny in it.
Yeah,
and just. I've already said enough about it that I don't need to go enough detail.
Yeah, we've already had a review
at number 6, though, is a movie also you've mentioned, Paddington 2.
There it is.
Paddington 2 is at number 6.
It melts your heart.
It just melts it, but it's the innocence of it. It's the way how the way the film comes at you in such an innocent manner, very kind of guilt. Like you really can't say anything wrong about it because it's such a perfect movie from beginning to end.
I think to add to what I was saying, it's just. It's a real positive force within cinema, and in such we do need that positivity. You're right. Like we need films like Get Out and Paddington 2. It's nice that they're placed almost alongside of each other because we kind of need the political commentary, but we need to be talking about problems in our world, and it's really important to be doing that, but it's also important to face problems with positivity as well, because Paddington doesn't shy away from ideas of racism. We see that with Mr. Curry and stuff like that, kind of that slight allegory for xenophobia and all of that. But it's a really nice way of approaching it, and it's just really positive.
And I think it's just a very wonderful positive film, and it's wonderful, and the ending is just so heart. It's so heartwarming, and it's one of the things where you just. I literally, that is one of the second times here where I cried.
tear-jerking.
It's so, I cry. I tell people at the end of the film, I say, do you cry at the end? And everyone says, yes, I cried at the end.
Yeah.
And my mum cried as well. I took my mum to see it the second time around. The first time, did have the best cinema experience, but I still enjoy it. And I saw it the second time, I loved it the second time around. It's just such a beautifully constructed film, such a really innocent, sweet movie. And I really hope they. I would love to have a Paddington 3. I just want more. It's one of the only times, but actually, I would love to have another Paddington 3.
If they're made with this level of quality,
if they're made with this level of sweet, it's like they never run out of ideas for it, and it still keeps originality. It's like Hugh Grant's got fantastic in it. But yeah, at number 5, a movie that I did rate a lot, and at number 5 it's Dunkirk, the Christopher Nolan film. Now after the absolute shitness of Interstellar, and I don't give a damn. I can't. A movie that was.
Let's have a debate right now. Here. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. I mean, a movie that went. We're gonna do it, and we're gonna have some real science here. And at the end, let's throw science out. Let's have some really weird science fiction at the end, so we can all mess everybody up. And let's have a plot device that really wraps everything up. And then let's have a black. No. And after 2 hours and 49 minutes of that, no, thank you. I mean, you've got Dunkirk really does reel it in.
Yes,
as opposed to
it's 2 hours long, but the thing is that it's done. It's really interesting when you see it actually in a big screen. When you see it on a big screen, it's just the immersiveness that comes at you, and also like the sound. The sound is brilliant. Yeah. Just you hear was it the German bombers, and you just hear the sound, and it's so kind of like it's so loud, and it's really scary, and you kind of feel like this is what it is like to be in wartime, and it's just a really great. It was a great return to form for Nolan. Very smart, smartly constructed as well. Even though many people may have issues with this construction, like you have, but it's a very. Also, the performance figure, Harry Styles is brilliant in it as well. He brings something that I thought would be terrible, but actually the way Harry Styles' character, it works very well for him because he's very. I don't like him, and I didn't like him in the film at all, but he plays it well. So yeah, Dunkirk, one visual effects and everything. A lot to be said about it, so I don't say a lot about it. At number 4, a film that many people may have a go at me put number 4, and I put it here because I saw it and I went, you know what? I thought this is going to be a real self-sentimental bore for me, and I went to thinking, I'm going to brace for the worst, and I saw it and I just loved it. I was so surprised at how good this film was. Wonder.
I should be quiet. I watched the trailer for it. The thing is, I saw the posters and I thought, this looks very cheesy. But then I watched the trailer and I thought, that looks actually quite nice.
It isn't.
But I wasn't expecting a lot from it.
It is. Yeah. I just love this film because for me, now this is a bit personal for you. For me personally, as somebody who's grown up with autism and ADHD, somebody who's grown up with that condition, I felt the same way as Jacob Tremblay's character is here. Jacob Tremblay, he's in the top 5 again this year. I mean, he keeps getting better every year. We've seen a Jacob Tremblay film in that top thing. Last year, it was very close to being at number 2 actually, but it wasn't. But the thing is, as for me, with me having those two conditions, and I've been living at the moment now, I felt the same way as he did in this film. And what I loved about it, it's written by Jack Thorne, Stephen Chbosky and Steve Conrad, but Jack Thorne and Stephen Chbosky are the two main people. Because Stephen Chbosky did Perks of Being a Wallflower, one of the best TV movies of the last few years. I said that last time around. Perks of Being a Wallflower, it's a brilliant film. It's about being an outsider. It's the same way film here is about being an outsider, but it's the writing is so well done. It's a PG-rated movie, but it deals with so many adult themes. But the way they write it in such a simplistic but at the same time very complex manner, it works, and everybody can understand this movie. Example, you have Owen Wilson is just brilliant as his dad.
I've heard this is one of his best performances.
He is. Julia Roberts is great. Jake Sully is brilliant as well. But what I loved about it as well is the way how they also not only do with Oggy, but they do with all the surrounding characters around him. And it's the way how Oggy feels about this, but also here's how the sister feels. Here's how her friend feels. Here's because at the beginning you see this friend, and this friend is his sister's friend is just like, oh, I really don't like her. And then you find out her reasons, and she's like, that makes perfect sense now. And this makes perfect sense. There's one kind of really schmaltzy moment here with his granddad, and that's moment I kind of yuck. But apart from that, overall, it's just such a sweet movie. I cried at the end. It's very, where the ending's going to go. But the thing is, it does get self-sentimental, but it deserves it to be, because I don't give a I don't give an absolute damn what people say. A positive message. If you have a message about something saying, you know, no matter if you're disabled, no matter if you have disabilities, you have a mental condition, no matter what, everybody's unique in any different way. That is a powerful message that transcends any other movie. And I don't give an absolute fuck what people say about it. I'm sorry, I'm getting very emotional about it, but I don't. But for me,
I think you can't knock it if it has a good message.
Yeah, and it's just got a brilliant message because it is literally it's about that. And if you can withstand that condition. It's a message that literally you cannot break.
Yeah,
it's that good of a message. I think it's brilliant. I think it's just I love Wonder. At number 3, a movie that is getting a lot of award attention this year, and I would love it to get award attention. I would be surprised if it's at number 3 if it does get any awards at all. Call Me by Your Name, the Luca Guadagnino film. Oh yeah,
I stopped myself that time.
But only the second time I travelled to my local theatre to check this out. And I was seeing all 5-star reviews, and I thought I might not like this film a lot. But
this is one I haven't seen.
I just love this film. It's a film that it's basically it deals with the relationship between Oliver and Elio, and Oliver's the person who comes over, and Elio is the son of this professor. And the professor usually brings a graduate over to study with him for the summer, and this person is Oliver, played by Armie Hammer. And you see this relationship that slowly blossoms. Someone described it as a flower. It slowly blossoms, and when it blooms, it's just there. This is a movie where it is just if you have if this is a romance movie, you take The Notebook or Annie Hall, they may not be romance movie. This is a proper romance movie. This is it's passion. There's passion in it. There's sexual tension. There is a scene which is if you don't like detailed imagery, turn off now because there's some quite detailed. There is a scene where basically somebody ejaculates into a peach.
Right.
Now this is a 15 rated film. Okay. It's suggested to. It's not literally, they don't see it, but it suggests that happens.
Right.
But you believe in that because you believe that she loves this person so much that he would actually do that. And yes, it may sound absolutely messed up, but it works. and Luca Guadagnino directs this, and usually he would have quite a fast visual style, so like a bigger slash, but he tones it down to reflect kind of this dreamy film. It's a very wandering, dreamy movie, but there is just so much love and soul in this movie. And the last shot of this film, which everyone's actually talking about, the music. The final shot of this film, everybody stayed at the end. No one left the cinema. Yeah. Everyone stayed until the very end, like when the film literally ends.
I've actually heard about this final shot. It sounds amazing.
It is just extraordinary fun. It's literally in one shot. You see how somebody feels about a breakup.
Yeah.
That might be spoiling the end of the film, but
I think we'll have to put a big spoiler tag at the start of this episode. But that's fine.
That is literally, and it's so powerful. It is it's what somebody would naturally do after a breakup. It is just incredible. It's just, and I really hope he gets some awarded. But the song that comes with it, I've been listening to that song consistently. It's brilliant, and that's number 3. I love Call Me. Really do watch it comes out on Blu-ray.
That's Sufjan Stevens, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. At number 2, now this is the late entry. Late entry. So
this is the surprise.
The late entry.
When did you add this in?
I added this in about almost 2 or 3 days ago. I saw this film on it's Tuesday now, so I saw it on Friday, and I watched it, and I just thought this was an amazing film. And I sent something out on Snapchat. I showed people this image. They said this is the best one movie yet, and everybody was intrigued by it. I said, what is this film? What's this film?
I'm placing my bets, but I'm not going to say.
Yeah, you're going to say.
I'll tell you if I was right.
I'll tell you right. Raw.
Okay, I was wrong.
Raw. Now the film critics placed it at number 1. How I put it at number 2. This is an amazing horror movie. This is just. I love this thing from beginning to end.
Yeah.
This is what horror used to be until Hollywood came around. Before the jump scares and the crashes and the bangs and the he's behind you, and before demonic children were possessed again and again and again and again, like Insidious and The Conjuring. This was the kind of horror that we got. Shocking and horrifying. Not like forced, shocking to watch. It is a gore fest. It ranges from extreme to intrigue. This is a movie that's not for the faint-hearted. If you compare this to movies like It is like light in terms of blood and guts. This is full-on blood and guts. This is a film basically about a young girl who goes to a I'll give you kind of the plot on it to kind of get people intrigued in this film. It's basically about a girl, and she goes to a veterinary school, which her parents have been to, and she's a vegetarian, and she's basically trying to fit into this world. Yeah. And they have kind of this period. Well, I've got the name of it, but they have kind of this period where they get initiated into this school, and she has to do kind of all these tasks. And slowly throughout it, she starts to try and find out who she really is. So she starts to eat more meat. She starts to eat more food, and from that you can kind of see where this film's going to go to, because it's a film about cannibalism, and it's just an amazing transformation. The soundtrack is brilliant. Julia Ducournau, if she keeps making these kind of movies, she's such somebody to look out for. She's a debut feature, by the way. It's a film like as a screenplay, it blends like with teenage angst with gross out elements, and that is a thing to balance. And if you can balance that. You balance that well, because it's a film about fitting in. That's something trying to fit in. But if you can blend that with elements of Dave Cronenberg's The Fly, Hidden Carter's Ringu, if you can blend that in with elements of something like Cannibal Holocaust, if you can blend that together, you have done something so impressive. The performances, Gareth Marilla, who plays as Justine, the main character, is jaw-dropping. She's just incredible in this film. There is just Ella Runt plays as Alexia. The way how every single scene that comes, your mouth jaw drops. I've never been so shocked by a movie, but I literally, and I saw it again the second time. I loved it even more the second time. This is a brilliant horror movie. I'm overrated. I'm not overemphasizing, but if you are a true horror fan, then you will love Raw, because it's 98 minutes. It's quite short. You will love it. However, if you like Insidious, you like It, you like The Conjuring, you like Paranormal Activity, like all those generic horror movies, then this will be a major step for you. This is not a jump scare movie. It's not a jump scare like Fest, but it's not for the faint-hearted. Because I would be lying if I said that this was a very forgettable movie, because you'll remember a lot about this film. There's a lot of chomping. There's a lot of stuff to really kind of get your teeth into. There's a lot of meat. There's no fat in this film. It's just a thin piece of meat, and it literally just chews all the way through it. I can feel all the puns are starting to literally fall down like a pair of dominoes. It is brilliant horror movie. I can't believe you've seen it, because you're more horror fan than I am.
I know you've actually just sold me on this film. I'm very excited. Is it in the cinema at the moment?
No, it's not. It's out on DVD. It's out on Blu-ray.
Okay.
I paid £6.99 for a Blu-ray edition of this, but you can pay I think like $4.99 on DVD. Watch it. It's called Raw.
Wow, that's it.
If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's an 18, but trust me, if you love horror, you will absolutely love it. You will literally have your jaw drop to the floor in horror. It is just a fucking masterpiece. But it hasn't been the number one. And at number one, out of all these movies, this is number one. And
this is the top.
This is really no surprise. This is no surprise what number one is on this list. At number one, Blade Runner 2049. It's like,
I was thinking that hasn't come up yet.
At number one, it is Blade Runner 2049. It is the best movie of the year. This is the movie I saw and I went, this has got no point in catching up. Oh god, it's flashing.
It's flashing. I don't know why my recorder's flashing. Oh, we've got 48 seconds left.
Oh god.
Hang on a minute.
This has been quite a long, ponderous one. It's it's fine.
Alright, we've got 9 minutes, Theo.
Right, okay. But we've done 9 minutes, to be honest.
Yeah.
At number one, and it's no surprise this is at number one, because I said this would be the best movie of the year, and it is the best movie of the year, Blade Runner 2049. This is the best movie of the year by so far. I mean, I would not be surprised if this was overtaken, because Raw was very close to overtake this. And I went, actually, in terms of visual achievement and everything, this does stand on its own. I've talked about enough in length why I love, the cinematography, the acting, the sound design, the music, the writing. But I want to talk about something that a lot of people really, I've been talking about some stuff. I've been chatting to people about this movie who've actually seen it. I've chatted to 2 people, and 2 of them, and they both haven't seen the original. One of them though thought was really good and really enjoyed it and really liked it. Yeah. And thought it was just an excellent piece of work. And another one I talked to didn't like the film, but haven't seen the original. The first thing I asked was, why have you seen the original? I think, why have you watched the first Blade Runner before this? Watch the first Blade Runner before you go and see this, because it's so, you have to understand that to kind of get this film a bit more. But what I found interesting is that I asked, why do you like it? And they said, well, it's because of the ending. And I said, well, what do you want? They said Planet of the Apes style ending. And they was like, yeah, kind of, I wanted that. But it's like, no, this is the point, you don't want that ending, because what you want at the end of this it's the search of a child. That's the whole point of the end of this film. But it was interesting.
I think what made this film so good was the narrative choices that they made.
It's just
a lot of the time they made the right choice when it could have gone a different way.
This is the movie in which so much stuff happens here, and it's just it's just. I mean, I think Denis Villeneuve is seriously like the Citizen Kane of cinema at the moment. He's
got Dune coming next. That's the next.
He's got Dune coming up, which is the reboot of Dune. I hope to. That's slightly worrying.
He has another sci-fi after that as well, but I don't know what that is.
And he's got it's so exciting what he's going to come up with next. Yeah. And it's just absolutely a masterpiece. I want to finish off with something. I want to finish off with a recommendation or something because I have a choice a bit. I want to see However, if you're in 2018 and we get this out in time, this may still be out in cinemas though. Persona, which I showed.
I've seen the opening 6 minutes of the film,
and you went, "What on earth is all that about?"
Yeah.
Persona. Now, maybe you don't know. This year it's the centenary. Well, it's 2018. I'm happy with 2018. It's the centenary. It's the what's the word? It's the centenary of Ingmar Bergman's birth. So it's been 100 years ago. Ingmar Bergman was born, and no one knows who this is. Ingmar Bergman was people think he's one of the greatest filmmakers who's ever lived.
Yeah.
He's had such an amazing career. He's made Seventh Seal. He's made Wild Strawberries. I've got some other ones as well in this list. But those two examples. Made Autumn Sonata. He's made so many movies. Like in terms of, if you're a track record, he's like Woody Allen, where he's like it's been like it's not a film year. It's 2 a year. Oh, it's this strong of a catalogue. And basically, the BFI are doing a retrospective, so they released some films of Ingmar Bergman, and the first film they watched was Persona. And I saw this today, and I came out of this so confused of this film. If you want a movie that is going to confuse you, watch Persona, because oh my goodness me, you are going to be confused by the end of this film. It's a film that is basically there is imagery. It's like a film inside a film. It's all about putting on a mask. It's about a relationship of two girls, but you don't feel attached to that relationship. The film literally breaks halfway through the film.
Yeah. There
is just so much happening in this, and there's so much to break down that somebody described it as. And I really want to find this quote because I think this is such a perfect quote to it's a way like film criticism. Like people may say this is what kind of film criticism is as a whole overall. It's made too late for trying to find this quote, but somebody described it as like this is the epitome. This is the top point of cinematic analysis, in which that's every single point you make about this film will be contradicted by another point you make about this film.
Yeah.
Every single thing you make, every single thing you bring, it's literally like Ingmar Bergman he's done like a paradox film where everything contradicts each other. Everything makes sense, but it doesn't make sense, and it makes sense again. It's a masterpiece. I absolutely loved it when I saw it. I'm going to watch it again. But that's a film to watch out for and from possibly to go and see. It's a bit of a classic with a big recommendation at the end of it, but it's a nice way to kind of finish off this podcast because and if you do go and see an Ingmar Bergman film at the BFI, because you won't be disappointed.
Yeah. And
that is it for.
How long? Oh, pardon you. How long is the retrospective on for? Do you know?
It's on till March, so it's from January till March.
So get your skates on, because by the end of March, that'll probably be the next Fortnight in film will be in March.
Yes,
so.
or possibly.
Yeah, that's actually fairly realistic.
Or that'll be when Fortnight film is released. Actually,
yeah.
So this may not even see. But if we do release it sometime around January March, do go see an Ingmar Bergman film.
Go for it.
Right, and that's it. So that was my top 11 films of the year,
which
finished on an anticlimax. It's been a very good year. Yeah,
it's been a good year. We've had some great films. We've had some absolute stinkers as well.
Emoji Movie. I don't believe 2,000 Planets actually.
Yeah, but let's leave all that in the past. It's 2018. Got new films coming out.
Shave Water.
A couple more Fortnight in films to make and edit and get out on time.
Get out
before the end of the year. And overall, it's been a very enjoyable experience so far. Thank you very much, Theo.
Thank you very much, Caleb. Thank you very much for listening to us babble on for. This has nearly been 2 hours.
This was a long old Fortnight in film. Yeah,
but very deserved because there's so much happened,
so much to talk about.
But it's been fantastic.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.